now that we've learned that Jen is all into the bump music, if you didn't follow. New bump music, new bumper music as we come in, out of breaks, so forth, so on. You can go to at Jen Jensen Morse and offer suggestions to her. She is very happy to be changing up the musical styles here as we roll through 20, freshen things up. Yep, there we go, 2022, so forth and so on. Hope you're doing well this morning. Again, Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, Jen Jensen. We will get you through the next, I don't know, couple hours. Normally I would tell you to. Jen, you and I are sticking around and doing a 9 to 10 hour. Just
should be fun.
Yeah, free hour of just you and me.
Full hour of NASCAR.
From what I understand, we're doing marriage counseling discussion.
Okay.
It's a good time.
That should be super fun.
Should be super fun. Super fun. If you want to weigh in this morning, 803-404-6100. That's how you can go and be a part of Buford Lending live stream. Go to youtube.com, search 1075 The Game, click and subscribe. Join along there. We've already got Anthony, DC, Lee, RL to join from last night, South Carolina on the That was maybe the one word I was looking for. Yeah.
Waiting outside, and the fact that I was already expecting it in reality, but I mean, it did look pretty blue.
Yeah, the first half obviously was a lot of fun. South Carolina, Kentucky was 39-34 at halftime. The Gamecocks actually came out of the gate pretty hot and managed to tie the ball game, and it was a very good home court advantage and looked like South Carolina had a chance to maybe pull a massive upset. However, Kentucky is very, very good, and the guy that we talked about yesterday, Oscar Sheetway, 18 points, 9 of 12 from the field. South Carolina just did not have an answer coming down the stretch. Keon Brooks adding in 15 points last night on 6 of 9 shooting for the Wildcats, and it was a little bit too much for the Gamecocks to overcome. The Wildcats putting 6 guys last night in double figures. On the flip side of things, Keyshawn Bryant, one of his better performances of his career. Obviously, the opening performance of his career was absolutely phenomenal, but last night a double-double from Keyshawn Bryant, who really came to play. 18 points, 14 rebounds in 35 minutes, the most we'd seen from him all year. And it was one of those games where, just quite frankly, that was the Keyshawn Bryant we expected to see all season long. Not only was Keyshawn on his game, Jermaine Cousinard, the other senior, brought his A game last night, 17 points and 5 assists from Jermaine Cousinard. So you get the point production from the veteran leadership there, from the guys you expected it to. It was just after that, South Carolina didn't get a whole lot. 9 points from Eric Stevenson, 8 from James Reese. Devin Carter added 7. Give credit after being called out by his coach, Wildens Levesque. I mentioned Oscar Sheetway last night. Wildens Levesque with a very solid night of his own, one that you would take and think that you would win most games, 16 points, 7 rebounds. But Patrick, the conversation kind of broke out where I was at. Is Kentucky a national championship contender? Are they a Final Four contender? Are they just an Elite Eight kind of team? I don't know if they're a national championship contender, but they are a team who I'm back and forth on this. Watching them,
there's probably a dozen.
Well, and I had this conversation with somebody.
Totally different than football.
I had this conversation with someone last night. Again, as I'm watching Kentucky, college basketball is in a really, really good place. I don't know if people understand. I get it. Maybe there's still some disdain and maybe some people still view college basketball as completely tainted because of Sean Miller and Bill Self and Will Wade and Adidas and Nike, and I guess to a much, much, much lesser extent, Under Armour. But college basketball has worked itself in terms of a product that you can watch on a nightly basis and enjoy. College basketball has worked itself into a really good spot. And as you just pointed out, that's why I asked, where you kind of feel Kentucky's at. College basketball is a competitive sport with a lot of parity, and some really good basketball teams.
Yeah, I would say that Kentucky's every bit the contender that Auburn is. You look through the top 10, everyone's a contender. Providence is a contender. 11, they've only lost 2 games. They're ridiculously good. UCLA is a contender. I mean, Illinois can. Kofi Coburn's one of those dominant players in the country. Like any of these teams can beat anyone on any given day, and especially when we've already seen in college basketball. I mean, South Carolina has a 7 seed go to the Final Four. We've seen even lower seeds go to the Final Four. We see it frequently. So yeah, with the landscape of college basketball, just the format of the tournament and the ability to beat anyone on any given day. I don't know how you watch Kentucky play and say they're not a contender. I mean, maybe you say they're not as good as Gonzaga. They're not as good as Purdue. I mean, they're certainly a contender. They've already got 20 wins. Anyone who's got 20 wins at this point is a contender.
Okay. All right. Yep. Last night, a good night.
Would you really be surprised if Kentucky made a national championship run?
No, to answer your question, there's a lot of teams that I think could come out of nowhere. Look, Villanova's 15th in the nation, and I think Villanova is a very good basketball team. You just mentioned Illinois, who got pounded last night by Purdue. Purdue's really good. Southern Cal's got a lot of athletes. I think they're in the back half of the top 20.
I mean, it's not normally you go into March Madness or just March in general, and you look at Kentucky and you say, okay, well, this is a super talented team, but are they really ready for the tournament? They're young, and this and that. That's not this Kentucky team. This is an experienced Kentucky team. They're meshing really well together right now. They're fairly deep. Jake Toppin was awesome for 6 minutes yesterday. He went down. I don't know how serious that injury was.
Yeah. No word there at the arena.
Okay. So, I mean, look, I would be, there's really nothing Kentucky can do. They can't do it. I mean, they've got a dominant inside presence in the Sheepway. They can stretch it from the outside. They've got just like the before absolute talent of guys like Ty Washington that you would normally expect to be Kentucky guys. So, yeah, I would say I wouldn't start that at all. They're going to probably be, depending on, I guess, what happens in the last couple weeks here in the SEC tournament, they're probably going to be number 1 seed.
Potentially, yeah.
If they win the SEC tournament, they certainly will be. Right?
Yeah, if they win the SEC tournament, that means Auburn, for those wondering, Auburn lost last night. Number 1 team in the country goes down on the road at Arkansas 80-76. Kind of mentioning. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. The college basketball rankings, again, because of kind of the ins and the outs and the weekly and 2 games a week, I would assume Gonzaga would jump up there and would take the number 1 spot, and Auburn would maybe fall to 3 or 4. But college basketball in a good place. Last night's game, again, we'll get more into it as we roll through the morning. Again, an 86-76 loss for South Carolina last night. But they played, and this is not a moral victory. We don't try to wallow in moral victories. South Carolina did play one of their
I can share that with them. I mean, basically,
not only do you not win the game, but it comes against one of the top 3 or 4 teams you're going to play all season long, and the schedule doesn't exactly.
Final was 86-76,
and Mississippi in the next 2 games, being LSU at home on Saturday, February 9th. Continue to talk about that if you want to weigh in on the basketball game. 803-404-6100. How you can join us. There was some more football coaching news yesterday. Nothing in particular to the tight end job that we have discussed. Although last night, by the way, out of nowhere, and credit quickly, Patrick. And I don't know if y'all saw it. I don't know. There will always be a special place in my heart for Steve Spurrier in South Carolina. Steve Spurrier did things in South Carolina, and it was a 4-year run. But over the course of his tenure was a lot of fun. But the 4 years, they're going from the SEC championship through the 3 11-win seasons. Anytime Steve Spurrier shows up, I'm happy to see him. I don't. Steve Spurrier is, in his heart, is a Florida Gator and will always be a Florida Gator. But I think South Carolina is secondary for him. He was able to accomplish things that had never been accomplished here. And to see him show up last night and give the award, to speak to the crowd at halftime and try and take 2 gigs in North Carolina, that was kind of fun to watch. For him to pump up Shane Beamer, just to see Steve Spurrier back out there and kind of accepted by the crowd. I think people enjoyed it. Nobody knew.
I thought that was more.
That's a great question.
I was sore years ago.
I don't know.
And he kept the garnet blazer, like he didn't get rid of that. So
Yeah, I think it's really it was fun to see him out there last night, and anyway, he shows up at halftime, randomly shows up, no word, and I want to go back to the tweet that Eric Nichols put out last night um, regarding this because I was blown away. We're sitting there, and next thing I know, Steve Spurrier's on the floor and Shane Beamer's on the floor, and they're discussing this. And they're talking about Beamer, excuse me, Spurrier is taking, like I said, kind of shots at North Carolina, and it was fun to have him out there, and it was entertaining. And as I just said, I was like, did we know this was going to happen? And I'm searching through my Twitter from last night to find the exact tweet from Mr. Nichols there to who explained that Spurrier was on again, he was off again, he was going to be there, he wasn't going to be there, and then he kind of just magically in his own Steve Spurrier way showed up. Yeah, Eric Nichols last night responding to a bunch of people on my Twitter account saying sorry, not sure all the details, but head ball coach was on, then off, then on, wasn't even clear as of last night. But it's always fun when he comes, and that was a really neat thing for South Carolina, I thought, to have him there and present. I don't know what the award means. Present Shane Beamer with the first year head coach award, the Steve Spurrier Coach Award.
Yeah.
Josh Heupel. Yeah. So I wonder if he'll go up to Knoxville and do the same thing.
I can imagine so. He probably would not be received the same way.
No, I don't.
Is that the town that he'd be least welcome in? Athens, probably.
Athens.
Yeah, Athens, then Knoxville.
Maybe Clemson as well, because he got on a roll there.
Like Tallahassee.
Tallahassee. That's a good question. What is the town he'd be least received? Yeah, he would get tomatoes thrown at him. There was that last night. There is other coaching news where I was going with this. Devontae Holloman, Patrick. We'll get into a little bit this morning. You lose Connor Shaw, obviously Eric Henry, your on the field coach, but looks like Devontae Holloman, former coach now at South Point High School, who just won a state championship. Looks like he'll be coming to join the staff as a analyst role, taking over maybe for Connor Shaw, maybe for another one.
I was going to say, is he not the same position as Connor Shaw? It seems vague.
Yeah, it was vague. I didn't see what the exact role will be, but good to have him back, and we'll talk about that this morning and get your thoughts on that. 803-404-6100, how you can weigh in, to which Charles does on the text line. And Charles, completely disagree with you. I think this is a bad take. Charles says college basketball is not in a good place. Rosters are constantly overturned because of one and dones and transfers. People will watch the tournament because of brackets and the history of the tournament, but it's not a good product. And that is the direction of college football is headed. Maybe on college football, no. The college basketball is a great sport right now. And you can look at it. Yeah, there's transfers. The one and dones are much, much less because you have so many kids going to the G League or to overtime elite. College basketball, I think, is heading in a great direction right now for those of you who want to kind of weed out the kids who do not want to be in college basketball. Yeah, you're still going to get the Jabari Smiths. You're still going to get the Pablo. Is it Pablo? What's Banchero's first name? It just Hallo. Thank you. I knew I wasn't saying it right. Hallo Banchero at Duke. Yeah, you're still going to get some elite players coming through the game.
You're still gonna get more freshmen or one and dones in college basketball than you are straight to G League guys, I think. Because now that they can get paid, there are still, regardless of if they always dreamed of the NBA, kids do like college basketball still, and it's cool to play college basketball. Yeah. If you can make a comparable paycheck in college basketball that you can in the G League, kids are going to take college, but a lot of kids are still going to take college basketball. It's just some kids have zero interest in attending class whatsoever. But I mean, I think if you look at most of the top 5 or top 10 of mock drafts, they're still mostly freshmen. I'm looking at one right now on CBS. Chet Holmgren, freshman, Jabari Smith,
morning. Again, if you want to join us, 803-404-6100. That's how you can join us. Again, you can go hop on the Buford Lending live stream, click subscribe, join, all those good things. We'll work on some technical audio issues on the live stream. Right now, though, you're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
More of the early game
You muted yourself.
on 107.5.
Yeah, so I had an echo.
Yeah, because of Jen, but you were the only audio that we were playing for.
107.5 The Game
So,
traffic from the Shepherd's Glass traffic
I don't know
center.
why.
A true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
Report at this time, but do want to let you know that there is some patchy dense fog out there, so maybe allow a little extra time for sure. And there's a chance you could see some frost on your windshield, so don't let that surprise you. Maybe get out there a couple minutes early so you're not late for work. And going into that forecast for today, looking for sunny skies and a high of 61, 68 for tomorrow, and we could hit 71 on Friday. That's good news there. But again, we do have that fog.
I'll save up to 40% on select chairs. Your home office has everything your office has. In-store only, offer ends 2/26 while supplies last. Explore what's new at Staples, the working and learning store.
Hi, I'm Flo from Progressive. Being a baseball fanatic like me can be stressful. It's not all sports points and touchdowns. So Progressive is going to help you take your mind off your team for a moment. Instead of thinking about how they missed that goal point score, think about the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, letting you choose coverage options based on your budget, unlike your team that missed the end zone net area. Well, anyway, hope this distraction about Progressive's Name Your Price tool was helpful. It sure kept me from thinking about all those penalty balls. Yay, sports!
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, companies might deliver a lot of hay. ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
Quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free.
It's software.com, accounting and payroll. Keep your time and money.
Mike Capel here, serial entrepreneur. I started my first business in the basement of a factory over 30 years ago. We had no heat and no air conditioning. Instead of customers, our office visitors were rats.
Yeah, see how it. Test. That sounds good. All right, so we should be good live stream. It was garbled. I sounded bad because we just turned Bill's speaker on his laptop on, so it was coming out louder from his computer. If I was talking on my computer while his computer speaker was on, it would be giving feedback. It would not have sounded good. I think this is the best we're going to do. Hopefully it sounds good.
I can't hear you guys on the live stream or me.
Why? Because you turned your laptop down? Or your iPad? We heard you. Did you turn the volume off on your laptop or your iPad? Did you turn the volume down on your iPad? Yeah, we heard you. Turn your mic on.
His is coming through.
Yeah.
Okay, well then I'll have to figure out what's going on with me because yeah, it's all the way up.
Yeah, we hear Jim. Lucky us. Yeah, it's up to you if you want to hang around. Apparently, we're doing the 9 to 10 hour. Did you watch this? You're a movie guy. The licorice pizza thing.
No, I haven't seen it, but I'm interested in it. I will watch it when I can get it for free.
It looks weird, and
Well, you wouldn't appreciate it. You wouldn't like anything that Paul Thomas Anderson made.
I would compete it
He's a phenomenal director.
because I wanted to know. Like, I didn't know what Bradley Cooper's role in it was.
It's not Bradley Cooper.
Huh?
Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, he's in it.
It's Cooper Hoffman, Philip Seymour Hoffman's son.
I think Bradley Cooper's in it though. $6:30 on a February 9th, Wednesday edition of the early game. What we've been talking about is South Carolina's 86-76 loss last night to Kentucky in basketball game in which they played much better, but it was not enough as Kentucky's able to get some points down the stretch, get some fast break points. Oscar Sheetway, the difference in the ball game, 18 points, 14 rebounds, but the Wildcats also just simply making some plays down the stretch. And Patrick, again, that's to our point. They're a good basketball team. You're probably right. You're probably exactly right. They probably are a national title contender type team. Maybe I don't get them enough credit last night. Xavier Wheeler, 4 points last night, but he got things done efficiently distributing the basketball. 11 assists for the point guard, the transfer from Georgia last night. So the Gamecocks dropped an 86-76 decision. And while they played better, the bottom line is they move to 13-10 on the season, 4-7 in SEC play. Anonymous texter weighs in this morning. Wanted to voice my continued support for Frank Martin. 6 Kentucky players in double digits. Gamecocks shoot 30% and still only lose to the number 5 team in the nation by 10. Something in the trenches is working with 9 new players. They aren't quitting, need a little more time to gel and fix their own problems, but Frank will get them there. He needs more time, plenty of gas in his tank. It's going to be a hard sell to a lot of people right now.
How much more time?
It's going to be a hard sell right there to a lot of people, but last night certainly a little bit better. We'll see how they do.
Of every argument to make, the needs more time is a tough one.
Well, it is.
How much more time?
And that's going back to the earlier text from Charles about roster turnover, which I think has slowed down to some extent. But at South Carolina, when you're talking about 9 new players in year number 10, it's hard. And there will be roster turnover this year. Jermaine Couisnard and Keyshawn Bryant are not coming back to this basketball team. A.J. Wilson will move on after this basketball season. There will likely be another transfer too. To say, well, there's 9 new players. There's likely, my estimate will be there will at least be 5 new players on next year's.
Doesn't Kentucky have like 9 new players too?
I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, Sheetway, Wheeler,
Washington.
CJ, was it? I'm trying to think of it. Was it the young man who didn't play last night, the transfer from Iowa, who was expected to be a big part?
Frederick. Apparently he's hurt. Hasn't really played.
He didn't participate last night. So, yeah, what you just said, though, is a good point. And look, I'm okay with it. The transfer portal in basketball is, to me, maybe it's because we're learning about the transfer portal in football, Patrick. I don't know if that's how you would label it, but the transfer portal in basketball doesn't bother me as much as the transfer portal in football right now with what you're seeing, which I guess is a mass exodus of players left, right, anywhere, getting out of football programs and going elsewhere.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's just really not worth getting worked up about anymore. It just is the way it is. Guys are going to leave. If guys at smaller programs are going to upgrade to bigger programs, guys that aren't happy with their role are going to leave and go to other schools. And teams like Kentucky are going to be just like Alabama is in football. Guys are always going to want to go to Kentucky. There's never going to be a time where Kentucky's not going to be an attractive destination for college basketball. So they're still going to get a couple one and dones, and then they're going to get big time transfers, and Kentucky's going to be as good as they always were. It's just I don't know what else to say, but the product overall is still better.
No, I agree with you. I do enjoy the college basketball product. Maybe it's just a byproduct of actually having fans in the stands this year. You and I talked about that last year, just how simply when you take fans out of the arena at college basketball, that product becomes questionable at best. So it's interesting, and we'll see kind of how it continues to play out. 803-404-6100. Certainly want to get into some Super Bowl talk this morning. Let Patrick start to break that down. You starting to formulate that the menu for Sunday?
No, I just talked to my parents yesterday about what we're good at, or I didn't even talk about food. I just talked about Sunday. So I don't know. We need to start thinking about that. I was seeing if it was just going to be me and them, or if my sister was coming or what. So no, it is time to start thinking about that. But this might be more of a catered type of day rather than spending time cooking. Might just go pick something up.
We'll get into that. We'll get into that as we continue to roll along. 803-404-6100, how you can join us if you'd like to. Gamecock Larry has waited patiently on the Love Chevy phone lines. I don't think he predicted a Gamecock victory last night. He is predicting a Bengals victory, but let's hear what he has to say this morning. Gamecock Larry, how you doing?
Well, first thing I need to say something to Root Hog. Root Hog, you called me this morning at 2 o'clock and left me a message. And I don't like the way you were bashing my coach or my athletics director.
Okay.
You go by my house every day. You are welcome to stop by anytime we can talk, because you won't talk to me on the phone. If got a mailbox hadn't been set up yet. That's all I can get. I can't get you on the phone, but that's okay, buddy. I might put one of these cross ties out here and on this road with them spikes sticking up, and you'll have to stop. That's okay. But let me say something. Everybody is bashing Frank Martin. Well, Lord, where Frank Howard come from? Frank Martin. But I tell you, the game last night, I listened to it. I didn't watch it. But I think, who we going to get? Bill? Patrick? Who we going to get if we run Frank Martin off?
Bill will do it.
Who?
Yeah, they're going to hire me.
Bill
actually.
Gunter.
Yeah, they're going to hire me. The resume from the ninth grade, the AAU circuit and the ninth grade coaching job. Certainly.
Also, pretty sure Gamecock Larry yesterday said that Frank should submit his resignation at the end of the year.
You did actually say that, yeah.
You cut me off, didn't you?
No, we're telling you what you said yesterday.
Okay, but okay, let me finish. I mean, you done got me so filed up. Patrick, he's talking about my coach, so he ain't came out and said it, but I can tell in his voice he wants Frank gone. I don't want Frank gone. I want Frank around here 10, 15 more years. And another thing, I want to ask you guys one question. You guys act like we've been NCAAs, all this. How many NCAA tournaments have we been in the last 35 years?
Well, it's 5 and 40.
Tell me that?
Yeah, 5 and 45.
Well,
5 and 45.
Well, okay, that's about one every
9 years.
That's about one every 9 or 10 years. Frank got 1 in 10. So leave him alone. Let him go. He's gonna be all right. Rudolph, stop by. I'm waiting on you, buddy. Come on by. Come on by. But that's what I want to. Boy, I tell you, I'm aggravated over Root Hog, but that's okay. I love you guys. Old Gamecock Larry gonna sit back and listen. 107.5 for about 8 more hours. Go Gamecock. Go Bengals by 4. Talk to you later. Love y'all. Bye-bye.
Root Hog texts in and says he was asleep at 2 a.m.
I was all over the place.
Let me just say.
The best one is the Root Hog text message just saying, I don't know what he's talking about. I was asleep at 2 a.m.
Root Hog or Gamecock Larry says that Root Hog won't stop by. He will not. His voicemail is not set up, so even if Gamecock Larry wants to,
voicemail is not set up. Not his.
So Gamecock Larry cannot leave any retaliatory messages.
Very smart.
Just
very
just
smart.
saying that I'm just trying to broker that relationship a little bit.
Yeah, good job. Good job. 803-404-6100 if you want to follow Larry on our live stream, on our Buford Lending live stream, does ask, I think, the key question. What is Gamecock Larry's address so we can all go by? We just all stop by. Well, we'll have a sign-up sheet.
People would
have a sign-up sheet where it's just every 15-minute intervals where somebody just stops by to check on him. 803-404-6100, how you can weigh in this morning. Yeah, there was a lot to that phone call. We keep it moving. Back out to the Love Chevy phone line. David is up next. David, you're in charge of following that up. Good luck. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing all right. Hope y'all are too. You talking about a sign-up sheet before you said that Root Dog texted in. I was going to say, how about a sign-up sheet and everybody just call Root Dog 24-hour period. Call 2 o'clock in the morning, but I'm glad he at least spoke up. Question that I had was, are PW teams might just try to pay in the PWOs a little more to save the scholarship spots? Have a good morning. Appreciate what y'all do.
Appreciate the phone call. So what David is asking, he says PWO preferred walk-on. Preferred walk-on is what a PWO is. South Carolina has taken a couple of those in recent weeks. No, yes, the answer to your question is yes. They are eligible for name, image, likeness, but still that deal has to be brokered through outside of the athletic department. A business, hypothetically 1075 the game, would have to see a reason to broker that name, image, likeness. And Patrick, I mean, I think that the name, image, likeness thing is interesting to an extent of at some point it's kind of like the housing market bubble or the tech bubble or whatever you want to relate it to. It's going to burst here because how long do companies find it financially beneficial to have players speaking for them? You look at it. We had an event this past weekend. I shouldn't say we. Cove to Coast had an event this past weekend. They'll have another one this coming weekend in Columbia, 1821 Lake Murray Boulevard. You can actually go visit Jay and Tommy. This is a great way to segue into this. Jay and Tommy will be on location at Coast to Coast, located 1821 Lake Murray Boulevard in Columbia from noon until 3 this coming Friday. Yeah, I thought so. It's Cove to Coast. The boat show at their Irmo location. They'll have all your favorite boats in stock this coming Friday or this coming Saturday. They will have Clemson football players, Miles Murphy, Jordan McFadden, and KJ Henry at their event. It's hard for me to imagine, Patrick, that these businesses, Cove to Coast in this situation here, would want to have, and I'm not making fun of preferred walk-ons, but what I am saying is if you're going to pay the money for it, I think you want a ROI. You want a return on investment.
Yeah, of course. That's always going to be big. And there's going to be an endless cycle of guys that college players will always be the best bang for your buck in towns like this, because what are you going to do? You're not going to pay a Carolina Panther who makes millions of dollars to come down here. No, you're going to get a big name college player who, I guess I understand what he's asking, but not really.
Well, I understand where he's going with
beating the system by just paying
with the general concept of saying, hey, we're going to pay you. We've got to.
But if the kid's good enough to get scholarship offers elsewhere, why would he come?
Right, because then he wants that money, that NIL money in his pocket instead of being used for his education. A lot to that there. But to answer your question, yes, David, the preferred walk-ons are eligible for NIL deals. But yeah, you would assume that it's not feasible. I don't know what the cost of an education is like at the university, especially if like you're an out of state or an in-state. I guess somebody who's got a child in college might have a better grasp of how much it's costing. How much you got an idea what it was costing for you at the end of your tenure at South Carolina?
In-state tuition was like
$6,000 a semester. Does that seem fair?
I think it was a little bit more than that, but yeah, basically.
Yeah, I mean, think about how much you've got to make in a name, image, likeness as opposed to just being on scholarship. Right. 803-40.
I like that he called him Root Dog, though.
Yeah, Root Dog.
And now somebody's calling him Warthog on the stream.
There you go.
On the live stream.
Yeah. Good.
Just continue to call him anything but Root Hog.
Yeah. We're rolling along on a Wednesday morning, 6:44 here on the early game. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Patrick Pratt, and Jen Jensen. It is the early game. In some form or fashion, it's the early game on 107.5 The Game. Yes, the big football game this coming Sunday, and we will get into the big football game and what it means for your food items, what you might want. Part of having a big football game is also having a big party. My good buddy, Big Daddy Rich, just texting me, and I assume I have an invite to his party, I assume, because he's going to have a nice, clean house. Otherwise, that means I've got to get Zero Res out to my house for my own Super Bowl party. And right now, if you call Zero Res, you can get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for only $119 plus a free hallway when you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game. With that ZR water technology, you will be the MVP of the big game party. If you get Zero Res out to your house, they'll make it look sparkling because the patented ZR water technology is scientifically proven to keep your carpet, your rugs, your towel, your upholstery insanely clean. So don't wait around. Call Zero Res today, 803-262-4020. You can also book online, ZeroResColumbia.com. Again, mention my name, Bill Gunner, at 1075 The Game, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $119 plus a free hallway. Let them come out with that. Again, patented ZR water technology, scientifically proven to keep your rugs, your tile, your upholstery insanely clean, and you will not be disappointed. Again, call Zero Res today, 803-262-4020, or book online, ZeroResColumbia.com. Whether you spell it forwards or backwards, Zero Res, it's the right way to clean. Wrapping up our number one here on the early game. Little Olympics going on here. We'll break into the live Olympics here. What do you think, Patrick, in about 30 minutes?
We're watching live Olympics.
Oh, is it live now? I never forget. I forget when it transitions from like I forget what it
It's live in the USA. Like
when they
really
stop
early in the morning.
USA one. Maybe that's what I'm confused at because I'm looking up. You're right. I see where we're on USA.
I having deja vu. I thought we were about to have the same conversation where you said it was morning time.
No, yeah, I think you said like NBC's the one that shows all the like basically the tape delayed. So I'm like watching
the big events. So they might not show things like this.
Okay.
They show like the superstars.
Gotcha.
So I think Sean White was probably on there yesterday because he had his preliminary round of whatever I don't know if it's half pipe. It's not a half pipe, but whatever it is the big air thing that he does. I think he actually almost didn't advance to the medal round because he fell on his first. He fell on his first attempt, and then I think on his last attempt just crushed it. So I don't even know if he's the favorite to win the gold medal, but I hope that he does. And then Chloe Kim, the 21-year-old snowboarder, she's awesome too.
She dominated. She won a gold
unreal.
like with just by stepping out there, right? Because
she's hasn't won the gold yet. I don't think. I think yesterday was the preliminary.
Was it?
Yeah, but she won gold in what was it, 2018, at like 17 years old.
Were y'all this weekend? Obviously, we're going to talk a lot of Super Bowl next hour and the relevance of this game with Matthew Stafford and even with Joe Burrow and just looking, even a Sean McVay or a Zach Taylor, the head coach for the Bengals. But will y'all do much Olympic watch? I said it yesterday.
Probably.
I'll say it again. I have been a little bit more invested. It feels like in the Winter Olympics. I don't know what I'm watching. Like I don't know if a storyline is developing, kind of like you see sometimes with gymnastics. Obviously, we Simone Biles. Was it last summer? I believe. Is that right?
When all that happened.
Yeah. But is there a storyline?
People were bringing that up again today because Michaela Schifrin, I don't know what it was, the alpine skiing.
Right.
She missed her gate at the very beginning on her first run, so she didn't get to qualify, and she was like really hyped up. She was one of the top skiers, if not the top skier. And apparently she's talked about anxiety and things like that, and she lost her father, I think, recently from what I read. And apparently they just followed her around and kept talking about like, oh, this is just so devastating, so terrible. She messed up in the biggest moment of her life and just like kept hammering home how bad it was. And just like I saw, even on Sportsnet this morning, I've just seen like shots of her sitting on the ground crying, and people were like, okay, leave her alone.
Yeah, let's make it worse for her. That'd be great. Yeah.
Michaela Schifrin, I watched her the other night, the first run. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I've paid enough attention to understand, but like the first event she was in, she missed one of the flags and fell or slipped and whatnot, and they were shocked. I mean, the announcers were shocked. I think that was like the 11 seconds in. I guess last night was 5 seconds in, like you said.
Yeah. That's always the worst. And you see it sometimes in the Summer Olympics where they'll jump early or something in a sprint, and they don't even get to run their race. Like wait 4 years, you don't even get to run, and she waits 4 years and barely gets to compete. I don't think the media needs to, hammer her anymore. She's probably pretty upset.
Yeah, the Olympics is kind of it's crazy when you break it down like that. We'll get into some Super Bowl talk. That is this weekend and should be a lot of fun. We'll get Patrick's take on the Super Bowl. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Yeah, twice she missed her gate. Might have the yips. I don't know. It looks very difficult to hit your gates every time.
But they still shouldn't hammer her like that.
That is for sure, Larry. Best thing he looks forward to every day. He certainly does. And yeah, I hate when we're sitting here silent too. I do feel bad, but there's only so much you can say.
It's true.
I usually just bring up whatever I'm reading on Twitter or while I'm scrolling through that's not sports related, but especially when we're going 4 hours today, we can't.
Yeah, you get an extra hour here with us.
Well, we will have to start talking about Super Bowl food.
Bill and I,
Super Bowl food. I like Patrick's suggestion of a fourth hour all NBA talk. I'm not into that.
Okay, I'll get my pillow.
well, because that's Pierce. I think the NBA is Pearson's favorite sport. We can go through college lacrosse rankings.
We got that. Yeah, we might. Yeah, that fourth hour might be.
I hear NASCAR.
Let me see. Let me see the new polls. See, and this is what happens. Jim says the silence is boring, and then Bill walks away, and I'm just sitting here by myself. And I don't. And the thing is, I don't want to. This is what I hate too, because Bill will walk away. He doesn't care. He's disinterested. He's got ADD. And then I feel bad. I can't walk away. I'll feel bad walking away because then there's gonna be no one sitting here. But I really don't have that much to say, and I don't know what to say just to myself.
They can
So if
listen
you guys
to me
want to
edit
talk
Frank
about something,
audio.
go ahead and comment. We can talk about something, but
Exactly.
I can't just do the stream of consciousness for 5 minutes. I don't have
Bill
enough to
doesn't
say.
typically have 5 minutes of consciousness.
Yeah, I don't.
See? I agree.
Yeah.
About all the talk about mental health. It's
Yep.
like, it's a big deal. And it is a big deal. But like, you can't have both sides. Can't have your cake and
Yeah.
eat it too. Quit driving the story or you will cause
I-
mental health issues with her.
I get it because it's a huge, what should be a huge, I mean, it is a huge story because she's a huge name. There's a lot of hype surrounding her, but yeah, once it's.
Oh, you don't
when
want
it's
that
something
either,
like
Larry.
you don't. Maybe you can, I don't know. I don't know what the right way to handle it is. Bring it up, but that's always been a thing in sports, the long reaction shots when people are really upset. Like,
Yeah.
following them to the locker room after a big loss and making athletes do media as soon as they just lost the Super Bowl, things like that. Like, that's just part, I guess it's just part of it. But then again, I don't feel bad for Patrick Mahomes making $40 million a year having to do an interview after a game, but
Yeah.
someone like Michaela Schifrin, she probably does not have that kind of money. So
Well, it's kind of like news in general. Like your
Right.
house just burns down. So how do you feel?
yeah. Yeah, I don't know what the right way to handle it is. Because people are interested. She's trending on Twitter. Like, she's a name that people know and care about. So they want to talk about it, but it's not helpful, really.
That's true. Things Bill has no clue about, we could fill up a lot of time with that.
Yeah, I do try to fill time talking about movies. It was pseudo Valentine's weekend last weekend, so I watched, for the first time I saw Water for Elephants. It's a good movie.
Never seen it.
Robert Pattinson and Reese Witherspoon. Christoph Waltz.
There's a
And
new
then
J-Lo movie coming out.
I also, for the first time, all the way through, saw Sweet Home Alabama.
Oh my gosh. I
Never
love
seen
that
it all the
movie.
way through. I've seen lots of scenes of it. I think I've seen every scene in the movie at some point or another because my mom likes that movie and would turn it on all the time, but I'd never seen it all the way through.
Yeah, it's a good one. Seen it many times.
Yeah, it was a big Reese Witherspoon weekend, I guess.
I watched Horrible Bosses too again. That's pretty twisted. And
I don't
fun.
know if I remember Horrible Bosses too.
I like
Is there a
Horrible
new
Bosses too.
Is there a new boss? Who's the new boss that's introduced? Aniston's still in it, right?
Yeah.
She's back in it. Yep.
But they killed Colin Farrell in the first one, so
Yeah, he's
And
out.
back in.
I've only seen it once. I can't remember the exact concept of it.
they're.
Oh, they start their own business. And what was the name
Yeah.
of the business that was so poorly?
I need to look it up.
Yeah, I do too.
The beginning of it's really funny.
It's
They
twisted
go in there
though. It's
promoting
awesome.
whatever they're doing. Our number 2, the Wednesday morning edition of the early game. Patrick Brett holding court on the live stream during the break. If you want to join us or join him on that, you can always go to youtube.com, search 1075 The Game, and click and subscribe to join along. Kelly, Craig, Larry, all weighing in. Robin on the way to Dunkin' Donuts for some coffee this morning. Jeff asking about the survival status of Frank Martin. The Gamecocks losing last night 86-76 there to the Kentucky Wildcats. We've been listening and discussing that this morning. Going to get into a lot of Super Bowl this coming hour here, Patrick, as we start to count down the hours, the minutes. It is strange with the Super Bowl that I feel like we would get some form of media quote or something. You'd have the media day, as you mentioned, where they would come out and talk. We didn't get that this year.
Well, that's what I was confused by. I mean, they did have it technically, but it was all over Zoom, and they were all still in their respective cities. So I assumed that the Bengals had already traveled to LA, and then I just looked up at ESPN earlier and saw that they had traveled. I guess yesterday was the travel day. So I saw clips and things like that. I saw there was a nice clip of Jarvis Landry jumping in on Odell's media availability, and they had a nice little moment. And Joe Burrow telling kids to stop working out on Instagram and just put your head down and grind. And there were a couple interesting, cool quotes, but overall, yeah, it's just not the same at all. I really enjoyed Super Bowl Media Day back in the day. Like, if I was in school, I would record it. If I was in high school or middle school, I'd record it and then watch some of it. It only took 2 hours to watch, and then when I was in college, I would stay home and watch it live. I enjoyed Media Day, but that's a bust. I guess it's just what they have to do.
What is the level of excitement for this Super Bowl for you? And what do you think it is for everybody else? Because it is an entertaining Super Bowl. You have Matthew Stafford is a very good quarterback. I have kind of, as we had this discussion as it pertains to the importance of Matthew Stafford for his career. And his career's not over, by the way. I mean, that's the other thing we talk about. Yeah, Matthew Stafford's still, comparatively speaking, young. He's got at least another 4 or 5 years in him, and maybe a year or two after that. So maybe he can get into stretch it out to 6 or 7. I do think he is a Hall of Famer without the Super Bowl. I'm kind of on board with you with that. But you got him, you got Joe Burrow in this game. But what do you think the excitement level for a Rams-Bengals game in Los Angeles is? It is weird that it's the second year in a row that you have a home game for a team.
The second year in a row and the second time ever.
Right. Tampa Bay, obviously, last year playing at their home stadium. The Rams this year playing at SoFi Stadium. But what do you think the excitement level is across the board?
I really think it's tremendous. I genuinely can't remember a Super Bowl that was not an exciting matchup in my lifetime. Like, I don't know what game people would have not been pumped about, just going back to some of the most memorable ones, even the ones that were not entertaining games. Like when the worst Super Bowl I've watched in my lifetime was 2014 when Seattle just thumped Peyton Manning and the Broncos. I think that was the one in New York, if I remember right. And the opening snap went over Peyton's head, and then they just got hammered, and that no-name linebacker ended up being the MVP with a pick six. Like that was still the matchup that everyone wanted because their offense, the Denver offense, was incredible, unstoppable all year long. In Peyton's first year with Denver, I think in his first game he threw 8 touchdowns, and people were just like, "Oh my gosh!" And Seattle's defense was suffocating. So all year long, that was the matchup: the high-powered offense versus the incredible defense, the Legion of Boom. So even that game was an incredibly hyped game. Like New Orleans, always hype. That was hyped. Peyton Manning and Drew Brees. Anything with Tom Brady in it had hype. Like I don't know what wasn't exciting. Even the Carolina Denver, people probably weren't that interested in the Panthers, but Cam Newton was electrifying, and the Denver defense was amazing, and it was Peyton Manning's last ride and all that fun stuff. So I don't know why this would be any different. If people aren't excited, then it's strictly because Cincinnati's boring, or I don't even know what to say, because Cincinnati's a boring franchise. I would say one of the most boring cities in the NFL, and I think their uniforms are kind of hacky, and I've talked about how cheap of an organization they are. They don't pay anybody. They don't have an indoor facility. They make their guys walk to practice on the highway, and they always cheap out at every turn. But they're an exciting team. Like, if you're not excited to watch Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, that receiving core is awesome. If you're not excited to see them play against Sean McVay, like he was basically like every NFL team was jealous of the Rams because he was the young hot shot, the whiz kid, 5 years ago, and now he's 38 and he still doesn't have a Super Bowl, and people are surprised by it. And then the Matthew Stafford storyline's awesome. So yeah, I don't know how you can't be excited about this game, really, because the Chiefs aren't in it, because Tom Brady's not in it. Like, it doesn't have that factor. I don't know. Joe Burrow sells, like, absolutely sells.
Yeah, Jeff on our Buford Lending live stream that you can go and join says he's in Ohio right now. Stay warm, Jeff. He says it's crazy up here. Stores are sold out of Bengals merchandise. And I'm with you on this. Joe Burrow is the face of this Super Bowl, right? Like
Yes,
he is,
yes.
he's the guy that we're all entertained by. It is neat to see his relationship with Jamar Chase. Did you see the story about Jamar Chase and how he ended up at LSU? It's actually a
No.
very, and when I say how he ended up, so he was going to commit at a All-American game. I can't remember which one, Under Armour or the Army All-American game. Do you know what school he was going to commit to?
No.
He had it planned out. Like he was going to commit to a
I do
different.
remember this. Was it not an SEC school?
No, it is not an SEC school.
I do remember seeing this because it's on. No, I can't remember what it was.
It's TCU.
TCU.
He
okay.
was set to go on. Again, I'm sure some of you have seen him in the past, or you've just noticed him, where players go to these All-American games, and they have a special segment lined up for them. They go sit down on the little couch or whatever, and families around them, and they commit to a certain school. And Jamar Chase was set to go to TCU, go play for Gary Patterson, and as he got to kind of off stage of whatever they were doing, there were technical difficulties, and they said, all right, hold on, we'll get you in the next break. They came back from like a commercial break, and they did something and went to another interview and didn't come to him. And then they came and said, hey, sorry, we don't have a spot for you in the lineup anymore. We got to let so-and-so, I forget who the next player was, we got to let so-and-so commit next, and we don't have a spot for you, so sorry, you're not going to be able to do it. So he held off committing to TCU, ended up taking a few more visits in the month of January, and ended up signing with LSU, where obviously Joe Burrow would come down and they would become close friends, and now obviously are close together in Cincinnati and have kind of turned that offense around. Tyler Boyd's a big part of it as well. But you've mentioned their offensive line this weekend. As you look at this game and you start to analyze it, their offensive line against Aaron Donald and Von Miller and the defense of the Rams is really kind of why I side with the Rams actually being able to win this game. We forget Joe Burrow did get sacked 9 times a few weeks ago.
Well, and that it is kind of a growing opinion or popular opinion that ultimately this has been a Cinderella run for the Bengals. It's incredible, but they got to run out of steam eventually, and it wouldn't be surprising if they just got thumped by the Rams. Like, there's so much momentum in the Rams' favor right now, and if they just were really comfortable and prepared in their home stadium, sleeping in their own beds for 2 weeks, most of them have been here before. So, yeah, there is a part of me that just wouldn't necessarily be surprised if it's not a particularly close game and the Rams won by 2 touchdowns. But I want to think that there is something special about this Bengals team because they made the Super Bowl. But I want to think that and believe that they're special enough to win the Super Bowl, because it wouldn't surprise me at all if the Rams win this game and people go and say, okay, well, you know what? It's probably for the best. Matthew Stafford got his Super Bowl, and you know what? The Bengals, they'll be back here again. That's what everybody's going to say if they lose. They'll be back here again, but nothing's guaranteed at all. And when Joe Burrow has to go through Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, maybe Aaron Rodgers, like the AFC is just such a grind to get through. There's absolutely no guarantee that if the Bengals fall short here, they're ever going to get back. No guarantee.
Well, I was about to ask you that. In the big picture of things, where is this Bengals team, this organization in the AFC? Like, this is an incredible run. They did go into Tennessee and pull out a thriller. They did go into Kansas City and pull out a thriller. You just mentioned going through the quarterbacks. Tennessee's not going anywhere. Who knows? Or maybe that's what you meant by having to go through Aaron Rodgers. Is that what you were leaning to?
Or Denver.
Okay, all right. So either one. But where is that franchise? Like, is this a magical run, or is this a byproduct of, they're a pretty good team that's maybe just a year or two ahead of their time?
Their roster's not that good. It really isn't. I mean, it's a fine roster, but it's basically those receivers. I mean, their D-line, they spent some money on the D-line this year, and it's a fine group. Their linebacking core is not very good. I actually do kind of like Jermaine Pratt. I just like the way he plays, but he's not like a notable player. And in the secondary, I mean, Eli Apple's horrendous. He's just so bad, but did make a couple plays. Jesse Bates is one of the best safeties in the game. They need to pay him this offseason, and they've got the money to do it. But you stack up their roster overall, it's it's not that strong. Like, I have harped on when we've had this conversation during draft season when people were saying draft Penei Sewell. I said no, Jamar Chase can bring more to the equation than Penei Sewell can. They just need to be average on the offensive line. They're not even average. Like, they don't have 5 average guys. They have like 2 decent guys and 3 bums, and it's a miracle I think that they've even made it this far. So I just don't know that if you get down 21-3 to the Chiefs next year in the playoffs, there's no guarantee. Like, you're not going to expect Patrick Mahomes to be that bad in the second half again. So I just, yeah, I don't think you can ever look at something. And if I was a Bengals fan, I would not be looking at this as, you know what, I'm just glad to be here. If we don't win it, it's fine. We got Joe Burrow. We'll be back. It's just, you can't ever think like that in the NFL because so many times it never happens again. I mean, Ravens fans, when Lamar won the MVP, they're like, okay, it doesn't matter. We're going to be playing in the AFC Championship every year. It's going to be Lamar versus Mahomes. We'll make a Super Bowl one day. And here we are. Lamar was hurt last year, and it feels like that window's closing. So are they going to? Do Ravens fans still feel like it's not if, it's when we're going to win that Super Bowl? I don't know. Ask Bills fans. Are they thinking, it doesn't matter, we'll be back next year? I don't know.
Yeah, Bills fans might be the complete wrong ones to ask. Currently, still, the line is the same as we updated you on yesterday. Right now, BetMGM has the Rams at -4.5. Caesars Sportsbook has the Rams at -4. So half a point difference there between BetMGM and Caesars. Both of them have the over-under at 48.5 is where you can get that. So 4.5 at BetMGM, the Rams, a 4.5-point favorite, over-under at 48.5, and Caesars at 4 and 48.5.
I kind of feel like I need to start talking about it the opposite way because Kelly's in the live stream saying, you said the Chiefs game was going to be a blowout too. I absolutely did. And I said I was emotionally kind of hedging it. I said I desperately want the Bengals to win. I'm over the Chiefs, and I love this Bengals team. I want them to win, but I just feel like the Chiefs are too hot right now. And now I'm saying that I feel like the Bengals can do it, and I feel like I'm going to kind of jinx them. So I'm going to try and trick myself into saying that the Rams are going to win so the Bengals can do it. Because I have no link to either of these teams, but at this point, I'm going to be genuinely upset if the Bengals lose. Like, I really want them to win.
I do feel like Gamecock Leary has already jinxed them himself.
Yeah,
I feel like you
over.
can pretty much you're off the hook for being the jinx for the Bengals.
I mean,
Like,
I
think you'll be
rarely
okay.
care that much about the Super Bowl. Last year, I didn't really care. I think the Tom Brady story was really cool, so I did want the Bucks to win just to say that I witnessed history like that. But Chiefs, Niners a couple years ago, I did not care either way.
interest.
No rooting interest. The Rams and the Patriots, I really didn't care. Patriots, Eagles, I just wanted the Eagles to lose. But this is probably the most that I've really wanted a team to win in a couple years.
803-404-6100. That's how you can be a part of the program on the text line or on the Love Chevy phone lines. Again, you can always follow along and join us on the Buford Lending live stream. Several of you weighing in, Larry, Craig, RL, all weighing in this morning. And yeah, as a couple were saying, Larry saying, remember, the Cincinnati defense is not bad,
The
Craig.
Cincinnati defense is not bad, but it's not good. They're
Not bad. not
They're
good.
just perfectly average.
Yeah. Craig saying Aaron Rodgers doesn't ever get back. So, and then you get back to the Super Bowl. Jeff weighing in, reminding us TCU produced Cole Beasley. Craig saying the wide receivers in this game alone are worth watching. So
Aaron Rodgers is a good point too. Why don't ever say, hey, this is just the first of many. We'll get him next time. Aaron Rodgers has never been back to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And
he's been arguably the best quarterback in the league since then.
So if you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100. That is how you can be a part of the program this morning. Jen Jensen, Patrick Pratt, and Bill Gunner, we're rolling along on a Wednesday morning on 107.5 The Game. Let me go lay back on the floor for a minute. I did some back, like core back workouts last week, and I think I strained a muscle. I don't know if we even have muscles like in your colon almost, but like
muscles?
Huh?
On the front side or the back side?
Front side.
Like your pelvis, right?
Yeah, but do we have muscles in that area?
thought your pelvis. I'm sure you do have pelvic muscles.
But I think I mentioned, but like my back is, it doesn't hurt. It's just like tight. Like it feels so good to do what I'm about to do.
Sure did, Kelly. Said they were going to win by 4. Not a good sign. And I don't think it's a good sign that I think they're going to win either. I think it's better that I doubt them because I feel like the Bengals winning the Super Bowl would be really good for the NFL. But no, I mean, not the same conversation because I think the Bengals are going to win now. But I'm getting nervous that I think that. Bill, did you ever hear from Murray? Bill will find out. We were 4 under in 9 holes. I contributed literally nothing. We absolutely did not use one of my shots. I don't know how to swing, so I was just there hanging out. Now Kelly asked, how'd we do? Did he go to San Francisco? We say it ironically, but it actually was a big day in the NBA yesterday.
How much do you think you walk at night when you're doing your job?
A lot, yeah. I think it. Well, I just found out recently that the health app has steps. It's about 15,000 steps. $7 miles. Why didn't you want the Titans? I would have loved for the Titans to win. That would have been really cool. Any first time Super Bowl winner I'm on board with. And no, my golf swing is certainly worse than Charles Barkley's. I still don't know how to swing it. Every time I swim a golf club, I've been told it's a hockey swing, and I can tell that too, but I don't know how to fix it. I can look that up. I'm not sure what the average points scored were this season. So, all right, to answer Larry's question, average points scored by both teams. Cincinnati was number 8 with 26.6 points a game this season. The Rams were number 6 with 27.2. So almost the same. No, offense, most points scored. No, I don't know what that means really. I don't know whose defenses who played better defenses.
Craig, what did you have against the Titans? I mean, the Chiefs, I understand. Some people are they get tired of that storyline. But my goodness, what did the. I'll give away one of these big game, big board things right here. 7:21 on a Wednesday morning. Tell you what we're going to do right now. If you are caller number 5, Jen, you can win a spot on our big game, big board. That's right. You can win. You've heard of the squares. You're familiar with the square boards for the Super Bowl. We've got one of those here at 107.5 The Game. And if you are caller number 5, 803-404-6100, you can win a spot on our big game, big board. Multiple prizes to be won. A pair of tickets to Elton John at Colonial Life Arena on April 20th. Maybe some red hot chili pepper tickets at Bank of America Stadium on September 1st. A 3-night stay in Kiowa as well. We will take one winner right now. One winner. We will have more of these giveaways throughout the morning. You just got to keep listening. But right now, Jen is on the phone taking a lucky winner. We will post your spot on Facebook and on Twitter on Sunday morning before the big game, so you can keep an eye on that. Also, want to let you know this coming Friday, Jay and Tommy, that's right, the dynamic duo that is Jay Phillips and Tommy Moody will be on location at Cove to Coast, located 1821 Lake Murray Boulevard in Columbia from noon until 3. You can go by and see Jay and Tommy in person. If you think Tommy, what's the old timey meat markets clip of the day is special?
They just played.
I know, that's why I heard it. If you think it's special, wait until you hear Tommy Moody do it live and in person. Jay Phillips is always in awe when it happens. Go find out for yourself. This coming Friday, 12 to 3 at Cove to Coast at their Irmo location, 1821 Lake Murray Boulevard here in Columbia. They will have a boat show Friday through Sunday, and they will have all your favorite boats in stock, ranging from Sea Pro, Tahoe, Avalon, Sylvan, and Mastercraft. I believe our buddy Craig on the Buford Lending live stream has a Mastercraft. You can also go out there Saturday, by the way, between 10:30 and 2, and you can hang out with some Clemson football players. Miles Murphy, Jordan McFadden, KJ Henry will all be in attendance. That is Saturday, so you can see Jay and Tommy on Friday. Saturday, you can go see Clemson football players Miles Murphy, Jordan McFadden, and KJ Henry from 10:30 to 2 p.m. Visit and hang out with them. So a lot going on this weekend, and one of those things going on this weekend is the Super Bowl. We're kind of kicking it around a little bit, Patrick, here. And let's go back into the Matthew Stafford discussion, because we were kind of discussing Joe Burrow there in terms of getting back. I'm of the opinion now that Matthew Stafford has had a Hall of Fame career. And not only has he had a Hall of Fame career, as we mentioned, he's probably got 4 or 5 more years.
At least.
And
it could be 10.
But winning one Super Bowl for him would completely change the way the things work for his legacy, how we view him. 2 Super Bowls would really change it, but let's just get the first one under his belt here. I think he's in the Hall of Fame now, but this would cement his legacy, right? Like because I'm interested in this. You've called him a inflated stats guy, but you also seem to be a fan of his. Not like you're wearing a Stafford jersey.
Well, I don't think he in himself is just an inflated stats guy. I think he's really good and has been really good and underrated, just playing for a bad organization. But when you're just talking about this era of quarterbacks, they're all going to have inflated stats because of the passing numbers. So you're not going to be able to compare. Like you'll say, oh, look, Matt Ryan has so many more yards and touchdowns than Joe Montana. Matt Ryan's better than Joe Montana. Like, no, of course you can't do that. So there's going to be a point where if you start for 10 years in the NFL in this era, you're going to be top 20 all time in passing yards. Like, all these guys, Joe Montana, John Elway, all these guys, they're going to be kicked out of the top 10 all-time passing by guys that were clearly not as good as them. So there's going to have to be discussions had during these Hall of Fame discussions. Like Phillip Rivers, is he a Hall of Famer? We don't know. It seems like everyone agrees that Eli Manning's a Hall of Famer because when you get 2 Super Bowls, it just hits a little bit different.
Mhm.
2 Super Bowls is not a fluke. Like Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl. Joe Flacco is not a Hall of Famer, but Matthew Stafford has been more consistent and just overall better his entire career. Joe Flacco was incredible for 1 Super Bowl run. That doesn't make him a Hall of Famer. So there's going to be discussions for guys like Phillip Rivers with no Super Bowls, but top 5 statistically, pretty much every passing category. Matt Stafford's going to be in there. And if he has a Super Bowl, that changes things. Matt Ryan has an MVP. Matthew Stafford does not have an MVP, but Matt Ryan has an MVP and is going to be top 5 in pretty much every passing category. Those guys are guys where you don't look at them. It's not Drew Brees or Aaron Rodgers where you say, yeah, no discussion. He's a Hall of Famer, first ballot. Those aren't first ballot guys, but there's going to have to be interesting debates had about a lot of them. I don't know if Matt Stafford or Matt Ryan, when he retires without a Super Bowl, are we going to say that he's a Hall of Famer? Because I don't think it really feels like it, but the stats are going to speak a different. They're going to tell a different story.
Soda City Bobby weighs, and I don't necessarily agree with this. He said Stafford's career mirrors Marino's, Dan Marino, in a lot of ways. It works be good. I guess to see him get a win and get that monkey off his back, despite him being a bulldog, a Georgia Bulldog. Rams.
It would be good to see him get that.
It would be good. Rams win 25-24. The one thing I'll say now, Dan Marino was fantastic. Now,
Dan Marino was the best or at least in the discussion as the best quarterback. Matt Stafford has never and will never be discussed as arguably the best quarterback in football.
If Dan Marino had won a Super Bowl, I think it changes his legacy.
Probably.
If he wins 2, we might be talking about him as one of the greatest.
Some people already do.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people that watch Dan Marino, just the way he threw the ball, people say he's the best I've ever seen. I think my dad might say that he's the best he's ever seen. I'm not completely sure. But yeah, it's just we got to, if there was a clear, mostly the Hall of Fame is kind of the eye test. Like, is he a Hall of Famer? Yes or no? And that's how people kind of discuss it. But if there was a clear delineation for what it means to be a Hall of Famer, and I kind of do agree with the sentiment that if you're a top 3 position player of your era, or a top 3 player at your position of your era, then you can be discussed. If not, what are we even talking about? What is Matt Stafford's era? That's another question. You could argue that obviously Ben, Phillip Rivers, and Eli are the same era because they were drafted the same year. Do we put them in with Aaron Rodgers because he was the next year? Probably. You should. But are they lumped in with Tom Brady, who was drafted 5 and 6 years before them? Peyton Manning, who was drafted 7 years before them? Like, are Tom and Peyton in the same era as Brett Favre? And where does Matt Stafford fall? I kind of think that Matt Stafford is in the era or the generation with Matt Ryan and Russell Wilson.
Yeah, you're right on the eras. Here's a great question for you. I'll throw at you real quick. And I think the answer is yes, but I want your opinion. Alex asks, is Ben Roethlisberger a first ballot Hall of Famer with his 2 rings?
Yeah.
Roethlisberger will be a first ballot, right?
I think so. And I think the 2 rings is totally different. I think if Matt Stafford were to win the Super Bowl and they come back a year or 2 later and win another one, it's not even a question. I don't think there's any Are there any quarterbacks with 2 Super Bowls that aren't in the Hall of Fame? I don't think so.
I don't know. Well,
we can look that up, but if someone can do that for me, if you're not doing anything at work, I want to look that up. Is there a single quarterback with 2 Super Bowls that's not in the Hall of Fame? I don't think so, because how many organizations even have multiple Super Bowls? I mean, Eli's going to be in the Hall of Fame. Terry Bradshaw won 4. Aikman won 3 or 4. He's obviously in the Hall of Fame. I think every quarterback that's won multiple Super Bowls is in the Hall of Fame.
David weighs in. He says Marino could spin it, but he had a great crew of receivers and a great setup in warm weather and a great coach. You could make the same case. Not warm weather, but playing in a dome. Peyton Manning had great receivers.
He had incredible receivers. He had 2 Hall of Famers.
Harrison and Wayne, and had a good running back.
Dallas Clark was awesome. Edgerrin James, a Hall of Famer. Yeah.
Certainly being a great quarterback comes along with, and that was part of Matthew Stafford in Detroit. You know, and there wasn't a whole lot there for him to be particularly thrilled about having. We'll continue discussing this and get back into some South Carolina basketball as well. The Olympics are taking place. What do we got up there, Patrick? Speed skating, men's 1,500 meter.
Yep.
Is that right? Oh, boy.
We did have a crazy looking thing. I didn't get to see what the name of it was, where it was like tiny little half pipes and the snowboarders had to just keep jumping through it. The next one. Did you see that?
I did not. I've been on the back.
It looks difficult.
Back is tightened up this morning. I've been working out.
Can you
laying on the floor?
Can you snowboard on a flat surface without any momentum? Because that's what it looked like those guys were having to do by the end.
I don't know, Jen, you're the snowboarder of this group. What do you think?
You can't really. There's no way to push yourself
I
forward.
wouldn't think so, other than like a skateboard,
Yeah.
All right. That
It looked difficult, whatever that event was.
was our snowboarding expert, Jen Jensen, here. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
I don't believe he is. And I think that is I just pulled up the list of all of the Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. And through Super Bowl 14, they were all Hall of Famers. And now I'm seeing Jim Plunkett is not in the Hall of Fame. Phil Simms only got one, right? Yep. And then once we get to Tom Brady, it's just, everyone else is going to be in the Hall of Fame.
We did not win, by the way. The last team shot 500.
All right, Craig, that is the answer. The only multiple Super Bowl winning quarterback not in the Hall of Fame, Jim Plunkett. I don't know enough about him. Like, is he snubbed? Should he be in the Hall of Fame? I obviously did not watch him play.
I know almost nothing about Jim Plunkett, and I think that's probably half of America, or more than half. Not just the.
Was this a joke? The Jim Kelly? When I said multiple Super Bowl winning quarterback? I mean, that was the legendary draft, 84. Marino, Elway, and Jim Kelly. Redskins drafted Darrell Green that year. Eligible, yeah. We're not counting people that aren't eligible yet. Eli will make the Hall of Fame, yeah. $16 seasons. Jim Plunkett played for 16 seasons.
That's a Super Bowl and longevity.
Oh, this is in his Wikipedia page.
What?
The last line of his Wikipedia page. He is the only eligible quarterback to win 2 Super Bowls and not be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Ah, yes, here we go. Hope has always believed Plunkett should be in the Hall of Fame. Raider Hope. No. Oh, I guess that's Jim Kelly's a good answer. He's been 4 of them, but no, we were just talking about quarterbacks that have won multiple. There's lots of good quarterbacks that haven't won Super Bowls. I do think it's Marino and Kelly are 1-2, though. I'm just going to look up Jim Plunkett's stats and decide, having never seen him play, whether he's a Hall of Fame snub or not. A blanket decision. Oh. I don't know, Hope. not very good with New England. The Niners, he was not very good. Then he was a backup in Oakland. His first year as a starter, 2,200 yards and 18 picks and 16 touchdowns. Or no, 18 touchdowns, 16 picks. What years did they win the Super Bowl? 80 and 83. This was not the one they beat the Redskins. Who was the Raiders quarterback when they beat the Redskins? Wait, it was Jim Plunkett, right? Yeah. So it was I'm sure Marcus Allen was the MVP of that Super Bowl.
$7:37 on a Wednesday morning. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, Jen Jensen here, February the 9th. What we've been talking about this morning, South Carolina falling last night, 86-76 to the Kentucky Wildcats. They put up a better effort. I don't think anybody is complaining with the effort that South Carolina put forth last night. It's just the fact that at this point in time, it doesn't feel, Patrick, like that effort is what people are exactly looking for. They're looking for W's and they're looking for appearances in postseason play. And last night, even though South Carolina played better, when you lose 86-76, you fall to 13-10 on the season, 4-7 in SEC play. It feels like any type of postseason pretty much continues to slip away from them. And therefore, while again, a better effort, it's not something that you hang your hat on and say it was a moral victory.
Yeah, you still lost by double digits.
Yeah.
And by the way, you obviously you saw the ending, right?
Right.
How it went kind of viral in the gambling Twitter world.
No, I did. I was not paying attention to that.
Oh, because I mean, Chibwe had the ball under the hoop and went like he was going to go up to dunk, and then dribbled out the clock.
Oh no!
And then as soon as the buzzer rang, he went and dunked it.
Oh no!
So people were like ripping their hair out. The Kentucky -11 bettors. They're like, come on, put it up. And then it, just to add insult to injury, it rang and then he dunked it. So yeah, that was tough for Kentucky bettors yesterday.
Scott weighs in on the text that says brutal bad beat. Yeah. Oscar Sheetway last night.
I don't know if it made SVP's bad beats or not, but yeah, I saw it all over the place on Twitter.
Did not see that. No, I knew the line was 11.5 as we got toward tip off. But yeah, the South Carolina last night, you do get good performances. The Keyshawn Bryant that decided to show up at Colonial Life Arena was the Keyshawn Bryant that everybody's been waiting for all season long. 18 points, 14 rebounds, probably helped that he played 35 minutes last night. Wildens Levesque turning in maybe his best performance as a Gamecock overall because of who he was going against. 16 points, 7 rebounds last night for him. He was 8 of 9 from the field. There's just, it seems like getting everything to click at one time is almost impossible for South Carolina because Jermaine Couisnard last night was good as well. 17 points, 5 assists for Couisnard in 28 minutes of action. But Eric Stevenson and James Reese combined to go 6 of 24, Patrick. 1 of 10 from 3-point range. You have to get a lot of things going correctly for this basketball team to not just beat a Kentucky. Kentucky's really good, but the SEC as a whole is really good. And so just saying, well, it was a moral victory. Hey, we'll bounce back and we'll get them. Yeah. You still got number 1 Auburn, who's going to be really good. Alabama's very athletic. LSU's very athletic. We've already seen a Mississippi State team beat up on South Carolina. It's not like you look down the rest of the schedule and go, oh, wait a minute, the schedule sets up for a
Lightens
run.
up. Yeah, it's not going to. And I don't know. I mean, I guess people talking about yesterday being a moral victory. Like, at what point did you think South Carolina was going to win the game?
I'll admit, when they tied it, that little statistic I read yesterday about being 3-2 at home, and you're putting a little bit of pressure on, and Colonial Life Arena at that point was a very good home venue, and
but Kentucky hasn't lost at full strength all year.
Yeah, and that's what happened. Kentucky is a good basketball team, probably a national championship type basketball team. I mean, you're right. If they're in the Final Four, I definitely wouldn't be shocked. I'd still probably be surprised if I saw them cutting down the nets. If I was to go through a list of teams that I thought would win a national championship. But to your point,
I mean, do you think they're one of the 5 best teams in college basketball?
They might be.
They're ranked number 5.
They might be because they did just go in and blow out Kansas and Fog Allen, 2 weeks ago, I believe. It was a week and a half ago, I guess. Not this last Saturday, but Saturday before. So a lot of good points there. 803-404-6100. We'll get back into this Matthew Stafford discussion because there's a lot of you weighing in. Courtney Levitt, our good buddy who we played golf with on Monday. And just to inform everybody, I've gotten the official results. We did not win. We shot 4 under. Best I've ever shot there at the Driving Down Maine course. It was Matt Jurgensen. It was Courtney Levitt. It was Patrick who led the team, and it was myself. We shot 4 under, according to our good buddy Murray Coleman. The final team of the weekend came in and shot 5 under. There was a 4-way tie at 4 under, and one team showed up and had a 5 under score there on the PGA National Championship course that we played the virtual golf. So, unfortunately, we did not bring the trophy back home to the 107.5 The Game studio. It will go elsewhere this year, but we'll give it a chance again next year. We appreciate Murray for allowing us to be a part of a great event. 803-404-6100 is how you can join us. Let's get out to the Love Chevrolet phone lines this morning. Steve has waited patiently. Steve, how you doing? What's on your mind?
Good morning. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Good. Listen, I watched that game last night. I just wondering how much longer it's going to take because those young guys are playing their heart out, man. And just listen that to me. I played sports, high school and all this stuff like that. And when you playing with nerves and on pins and needles, and a couple of guys made a few mistakes, and the first thing they did was look over to the sideline. That's playing intimidated. You playing with intimidated, and you can't do no sports like that. And the little light skinned guy, Carter, he went up on the basket and tried something. Kentucky took the ball from him. And I thought Frank Mott was going to actually choke this kid out the way he jumped all in the grill for one simple mistake. I mean, Carolina got some talent on their team. And I see they got some good players on that team. But if they don't do something by Frank Martin, it's going to be hard to get recruits in here because no kid and no parent want their kid hollered at, screamed at, yelled at. That's just not, to me, that's not good coaching. I mean, it's just not good coaching. And a player strives on the motivation of a coach. If you put me in a negative vibe, then that's what I'm going to be. And I just don't see Frank Martin. I mean, it's just time for a change. I wish the Carolina fans can all come together and do it because it's time for a change. No, the recruits going to be bad there. I promise you it will be. And I don't see them win another game. And the games they can win, they're on the road with them, so they won't win them. So what happens if we don't win another game?
Yeah, I don't know. Good question there, Steve. Thank you for the phone call. I mean, look, man.
That's always been a gripe from people. His demeanor.
Yeah, and Frank's more demonstrative and it's more vocal, or it's more passionate. But I've been around a couple other coaches, and and when I say a couple other coaches, I've heard sideline demeanors. Look, I don't know. That's a whole nother thing. We'll see. There will be time for that discussion, and today is February 9th, and I've got a feeling that discussion on the future of South Carolina basketball will be had within the next 30 days, Patrick? Is that fair?
What day is the first day of the SEC tournament?
I believe it's March 9th.
It'll probably be at March 10th.
March 5th is a Saturday, and I'm just doing this without looking at a calendar quickly. The 6th will be a Sunday, so you'll have 7th, 8th, 9th. 9th will be a Wednesday. The March 9th will be a Wednesday, and that would be the opening night of the SEC tournament.
Which South Carolina will be playing in.
That'll be 11 versus 14, 12 versus 13 game. So, yeah, we'll continue on. We'll continue on, and certainly if you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100. That is how you can join us if you'd like to this morning. As always, you can go to the Buford Lending live stream. Craig, Ross, Hope, Larry, everybody getting involved there. A lot of different discussion. Jim Plunkett.
Yeah, we did. We can close out the hour with this. We found out. I asked the question: has a quarterback ever won multiple Super Bowls and not been in the Hall of Fame? The answer is yes. Jim Plunkett. And I asked, is Jim Plunkett Hall of Fame snub? So I did some research of my own, some unbiased research.
Unbiased.
And even asked my dad, who was defeated by Jim Plunkett in a Super Bowl.
Oh.
Not my dad, but the Redskins.
That would have been pretty cool,
Yeah.
though. Yeah.
So I have the answer.
Okay, we'll get into that. We'll discuss Matthew Stafford, Super Bowl quarterbacks, more South Carolina basketball. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Live, local, and free. That's how we do sports. 107.5 The Game. Feel free to call and complain if you wish.
You should call that radio station and let him have it.
Remember, we are free of charge, after all.
Again, it is almost spring vacation, which is just around the corner. And that means taking a fun trip with the family, maybe to the mountains, maybe to the beach, maybe to Disney World. I don't know. I don't know where you go these days for spring vacation. Wherever it is, you better have a reliable vehicle to get you there. And if you've been looking at that vehicle thinking, yeah, it might be time to upgrade, might be time to get something a little bit bigger for these vacations, Love Chevrolet has got you covered. Whether it's a brand new Tahoe, a Silverado, whatever you're looking for, the great folks at Love Chevrolet have got the largest selection of vehicles anywhere in the Midlands, 14 acres to be exact. And yeah, we are all aware that the car industry is still going through a time of high demand but low supply. But at Love Chevrolet, they continue to carry on with the largest selection available and then the best price available. You can actually go shop other dealerships and take their deal back to the folks at Love Chevrolet, and they will top it, or they'll write you a check for $1,000. Has not happened yet. Won't happen anytime soon. So whether it is the selection you're looking for or the lowest price guaranteed, Love Chevrolet's got you taken care of. And when all that is done, you also want incredible customer service. And Love Chevrolet cannot be topped. With multiple salespeople with over 20 years of experience in the industry, the customer service is second to none at Love Chevrolet. Go find out for yourself. I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park, or you can visit them on the web, lovechevy.com. Get out to Love Chevrolet and find new roads.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center. Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
And we do still have some areas of really dense fog, so be extra careful. Some of it is burning off, but still some patches where it is pretty darn thick. So just extra time if you would. And keep those low beam headlights on, please. Longtown Road at Killian Road, working that earlier accident.
Oh, I said, sorry. Yeah. Adam, it's common knowledge. They're going to Europe after this year. They're going overseas to start professional ball. Everybody's been already saying that. It's what's already known.
Yeah. Where would you go play?
What do you mean? Like in Europe?
If you were just like a really good college player, but not NBA player. Doesn't have to be Europe. You can go play in China if you want to. The most money can be made in China, I think.
Rolando Howell, who I played with growing up and was a good friend of mine, he really did rave about playing in Italy. He said like it was a really fun league. The fans are, I mean, very passionate. He said they're actually fun. Yeah, Craig, I've talked to a couple guys who said Greece was really, really good. But Rowe always raved about the Italian league. He played in the upper Italian league, and he said like the fans are like insane. Yeah. Like it's like a. He said it was the closest thing to like a college environment because they're just like you go to a game and he's like it's just insane.
I see lots of stuff of Kotsar in Germany. Seems like he's doing well.
I think Kotsar's doing pretty good. Yeah,
because I know his girlfriend.
I gotta cut a zero for the hour.
Italy probably would be the move. You could eat Italian food. I'm not like a crazy Italian food guy. I don't like to eat pasta very often, but you can get by on Italian food every day. I think Greek food would get old. I do love Greek food, but I couldn't eat it every day.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I don't know. Good. I'm just completely judging and stereotyping every nation's food, but Germany, I just imagine you have to eat sausage every day.
Schnitzel.
You have to drink beer with every meal.
Wetzel.
Schnitzel?
Schnitzel.
I do love a schnitzel. There's actually really no nationality's food that I don't like, but there is a limit to how much I could eat any of it. Probably not actually how it is at all, and you can eat whatever you want wherever you want. But I do just picture that everyone in Germany eats pretzels, sausage, and schnitzel for every meal.
With a beer.
With a beer.
with an Oktoberfest.
And everyone in Italy eats pasta, eats spaghetti, chicken parm, or pizza for every meal.
We did learn from a friend of ours who came and visited from Australia. We had her try her very first s'more. She'd never had one of those, and
Oh,
she's
nice.
in her 60s.
My sister had two of her New Zealand teammates from field hockey stay with us for Christmas one year, and they brought Vegemite. Ugh,
That is, I'd rather lick a tire.
it's terrible.
It's terrible.
It's horrendous.
Has a lot of B12 or something, but
Marmite.
803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in this morning if you feel pleased to do so. Trey asks, fair question, who was the last undisputed leader of the men's basketball team? I guess that question is fair from the standpoint of what we are looking in on, Patrick. I do feel like Eric Stevenson is kind of the undisputed leader of this team.
Yeah.
I
think the question is actually who was the last undisputed leader who was also the best player on the team. Because that's almost what matters. Like there's always going to be a senior guy who kind of takes charge in the locker room, but people are going to just automatically go back and say Sindarius, because not only was Sindarius the leader, he was the best player. So he said, and he could follow up what he said.
Yeah, Chris Silva became a leader his senior year, but I don't think he was the vocal. He wasn't the in-your-face kind of leader. Sindarius was we're gonna do it my way.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna carry us to a victory, and then I'll let you know about it later.
It's kind of weird in basketball too, where like Chris Silva obviously played in the post and depended on someone else to get him the ball, whereas Sindarius could be the leader and say, you know what, everybody get out of the way. I'm going to take the ball. I'm going to go score. I'm going to win this game for us. And he could do it all himself because he could be the primary ball handler. That was never what Silva was able to do. So basketball is just kind of a weird sport in that way. And it's like in football, like your leader just by default kind of has to be the quarterback.
Yeah.
And if it's not, you probably have a problem that needs to be solved.
Hope asks on the Buford Lending live stream, are we going to discuss the Super Bowl food menu for this coming weekend on Friday? Shoot, we might start talking about that in the next hour. Like, just go ahead and go right on into that. Patrick, you're saying it might be a catered type event instead of
I'm going to be at my parents' house. I haven't watched Super Bowl with my parents since high school, so this will actually be fun. But I actually think they're listening right now, so we do need to have that discussion, Mom and Dad.
I think the question is, you got to have one dip at your Super Bowl party. Is it like the 7-layer bean dip? Is it the Rotel dip? Is it buffalo chicken dip? We got into that. You can only have
Bill. That's your dip.
I would say Super Bowl's not even you don't even eat meals on Super Bowl. You just graze all day.
That's right. Yeah. No, it's not like Thanksgiving or Easter where you sit down, where everybody sits down around the table and says the Super Bowl blessing, and you got the centerpiece. No, it's far different. But what is the one dip you have to have? And do you have any good recipes? Because we're open to a early game cookbook here. We'll continue on as we roll through the Wednesday morning edition of the early game. It's Patrick Perrett, Jen Jensen, and Bill Gunner. You're listening to 107.5 The Game.
Bill needs to record something.
That sleep number is just for the lives, it looks like.
They use ZR water to clean your carpets like no other, and with no sticky, soapy.
This is why we don't have him on right now when he's doing this stuff, because I don't think you guys want to hear that. Now, if we have any outtakes on some of these spots that he cuts where he makes mistakes, I'll share that with you. I like it. I think they look sharp. I love the design. I love the sound, that throaty sound. Some of the nuances. It's going to be interesting to see how well they race, like when we saw how they do all together, but um and really long runs and stuff. I think it's going to be fun to see. Um I love the rims on these things. The single lug nut, I think that's pretty fun. It's going to be interesting to see how that impacts the pit stops and whatever. But yeah, so far I love it. I think the car's pretty cool. I'm assuming you guys heard that.
This event is awesome. See how they're shoving each other forward when they make the switch. Look at it.
All right, you got me back in the right program.
Look, they push each other in the back. Watch, watch, watch. You're not watching.
Typically, this is where I would be telling you it's the final hour of the early game, the Wednesday edition. However, good news for you. We're going to hang around and do one extra hour from 9 to 10 just today. Just today.
They don't even have to pay for that.
You don't even have to. Yeah, you get all
just a
the makeup
bonus.
and nighty discussion. Patrick wants to talk NBA.
I didn't even know we were doing this when I walked in this morning. I would have brought the tea in with me from my car.
You can go get it.
You can
I'll
walk
order
out
for
and
you.
get it. Yeah,
It's
like,
I've
it's not
been
like
purposely drinking my coffee slower.
the car. Your car is only about 400 yards away. It's not like you go. And there's.
I have to go pay the meter though.
We also both have to go pay the meter. Yes.
Oh. Do
You
you guys
wanna
have
guess?
change? Do you guys need some change?
You want to guess how much? I actually yesterday pulled up my parking ticket bill.
Oh no. You like it's on the internet? This stuff's on the internet?
Well, yeah. I mean, you have to pay the tickets online.
Oh, you can't
Oh,
just
yeah.
go by the place now?
If you
I
get a
don't even know
parking
if I
ticket, you can pay on. Yeah, you can
Yeah,
pay
you
it
can pay
online. Uh-huh.
I don't know if I should even say how much it is.
I'm a safe driver. I don't find out this.
Okay,
what do you got?
It's not about safety. It's just about not
$65.
because I park on the street and I would produce like the 4 to 7 show. I'd produce Heath show a bunch of times and I can't keep running out there to put money in. And sometimes I do it on the app and I forget. So when I would produce Heath show for like 5 days in a row, I might get 5 parking tickets.
Oh my goodness.
And all right,
All right, so 5 times 7, it gets up to 15, I think. So that's 75 you're at.
anyway, yeah, but when you don't pay them on time, they go up. They
That's
max
what I
out, I
was
think,
gonna
$36.
Oh,
They go
goodness.
back to March of 2021.
Oh.
Nice job.
At $216 of parking bills.
Oh my gosh.
I'm paying them off one at a time.
There you go.
Because I don't have $216.
Well,
That
not for
brings
that.
us to our next question on the early game. What is your best bet for the weekend? You got a good one for the you got a good one here for the I've asked you, and some of you, and we'll get to this. I've asked you about your best dip. What is the one dip that you have to have? And just as our listeners would do, Craig instantly says pigs in a blanket, a must as well, because I asked about what is your favorite dip, and Craig wants to weigh in with pigs in a blanket are a must as well. He did say that Patrick did not give us the ingredients to his secret crab dip.
It's just lump crab, cream cheese, a little bit of mayo, some I think some Old Bay, and maybe some ground mustard.
Okay, so there's that.
Then
Now,
obviously cheese on the top, of course. Every great dip has cheese on the top.
of course, what kind of cheese?
I just use like sharp cheddar.
Okay, so there's that. So yeah, but where was I going with this before we got back on the dip? Oh, the bets for the weekend. As Patrick is trying to pay off his parking tickets. If you've got one bet, let's go through some of these props here and see, because right now we got 4.5 is the line, roughly 4.5 again. While BetMGM's got it at 4, Caesar Sportsbook has got it at 4.5. Speaking of which, by the way, tomorrow, Brian Edwards will be joining us at this point in time to talk about these prop bets. All right, Super Bowl 56 first touchdown score. So the first guy. There's no women playing in the game, so I apologize if I offend anybody with that. But the first guy to score
Where are
a
you looking at
touchdown.
this?
This is straight off of Vegas Insider.
Okay.
Does it tell me which? It does not. This is just VegasInsider.com's Super Bowl 56 props. So it's their personal props. I'm not going by any of the Vegas outlets. I'm just using the VegasInsider.com website. Cooper Kupp is the top choice, plus 500 to score the first touchdown of the Super Bowl. Joe Mixon for the Bengals is second at plus 700. Cam Akers plus 750. Jamar Chase plus 750. Odell Beckham Jr. plus 850. T. Higgins plus 1,000. Tyler Boyd plus 1,300. There's more. By the way,
Yeah.
like for
you
example,
can't bet on any of those people that you just named.
Like the Rams defense is plus 2,500. For those of you wondering, if you put 100 down on the Rams defense, and the Rams defense has a pick six or a fumble recovery, scoop and score, then you would win $2,500. So Patrick would be able to pay off his parking tickets and buy plenty of crab dip for all of us to
Yeah.
enjoy.
Brian Glenn did just tweet me. He says, everyone who's ever worked in 5 Points laughed at your puny $216 parking ticket bill. I don't have $216 though, so if my Venmo's open for everyone to pay off my parking tickets. But to answer your question, you can't bet on any of the people you just named. If you're betting on a prop like that, don't bother betting on anyone who has less than plus 1,000 odds. You got to make some money. So for me, I'm going Joe Burrow.
What
plus 3,000.
Wait a minute. What do you mean you got to make some money? Like if you put 100 on Cooper Cup and you win,
$100. If you put, first of all, I don't think you can on props put $100. I think a lot of them have $50 limits. If you put $100 on first touchdown scores, you're either super rich or psycho.
Okay.
That's the odds of that. Like this is a bet where put the absolute minimum down and just go for a long shot.
Okay. All right. So
I'm saying Joe Burrow
So
plus
you're going-
3,000.
you're going-
Joe Burrow rushing
you're
touchdown.
You're going Burrow. All right. Joe Burrow with a rushing touchdown.
Yeah.
Okay.
Aaron Donald's coming at him. He breaks the pocket. Jukes Ernest Jones, dives in for a touchdown. You bet $10, you win $300.
I feel like Odell Beckham Jr. at plus 850 is a good one there. Like I feel like that's the direct plus 850, 100 to win, 850. We could pay a couple of your parking tickets off. We could buy you a pizza from Village Idiot and have some crab.
Or just go for the most boring game of all time. No touchdown scored, plus 9,000.
That's true. That would be awful. Let's see here. Super Bowl 56 team touchdown total odds. This is a good one. I like this. Team touchdown total odds. So how many touchdowns will the Cincinnati Bengals score in this game? The over-under is set for the Cincinnati Bengals at 2.5 in terms of total touchdowns. Currently, the over is minus 115. The under is minus 125. I kind of like the over, don't you?
Over, yeah.
I kind of like the over in that.
I don't like the over on 3.5.
The
For the
Rams, yep, this is where we're going next. The Rams right now, total touchdowns. Again, not points scored, it's touchdowns in the ball game. The Rams are total touchdowns over 3.5, under 3.5. Over is actually plus money, 145. So if you believe the Rams will score 4 touchdowns, you can put 100 down to win 145. Under 3.5 is minus 190. I kind of like the over on the Rams. Are you expecting the over under in this game is 48.5, Patrick? They've had 2 weeks off. I feel like this, though, is setting up to be a pretty high scoring game. By high scoring, I'm gonna my prediction on Friday will be somewhere in the ballpark of some team is in the low 30s, some team is in the high 20s. So say like 34-28, 31-27. In that 31-27 would make a lot of sense. That would go over the 48.5 over under by about 10 points.
I think in theory that is correct, but for some reason I just feel like in the Super Bowl everybody gets tight, doesn't want to make a mistake. Maybe I just feel like in that big stage there's going to be a little bit of nerves attached. Guys aren't going to really be, maybe they won't be airing it out like they usually would because they want to be careful not to make a mistake. Field position becomes really important, and guys are trying to play the field position. Maybe you're not as risky on 4th downs, things like that. I agree with you in theory, but I do kind of feel like this could be destined to be, I guess in my head, the score that I'm picturing is 27-24. So I guess that would hit the over anyway. So I do think 48 is a little bit low of a number. I would take the over on 48.
Okay.
But I don't know that it's going to get into, I don't know that the winner has to score 30 points in this game. I don't think that's the case.
Just a few others here, and then we'll get out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Super Bowl 56, first team to score. Field goal, touchdown, safety, whatever. Doesn't matter. First team to score. The Rams are minus 135. The Bengals are plus 105. What you got on that one? I feel like based on what you're telling me about your betting preferences here, you're going for the money here and taking the Bengals plus 105.
I would think so. That's just like the coin toss becomes so important on that.
Yeah.
And I think whoever wins the coin toss is going to defer because they always defer now.
Okay.
Technically, do you know who the away team is?
I believe it is the Rams.
It is the Rams.
Yeah,
the Rams
okay.
are the away team in their own stadium, but so they will be calling the coin toss. They're going to call tails, of course, and if they win, they're going to defer. I think I don't know.
We'll get into more.
That's such a shot in the dark, though. Like I kind of like the ones where if I'm doing Super Bowl props, I want to just do something crazy, like the quarterback scrambling for the first touchdown, $10 to win 300, like things like that.
Yeah,
I guess if you just put 50 props down, you can just basically have some action riding on every possession.
803-404-6100 is how you can join us this morning if you want to weigh in and be a part of the program. Again, last night, South Carolina Falls 86-76 to Kentucky in basketball. We'll continue going through some of these props because there was a Joe Burrow, Matthew Stafford yards passing that I want to get to as well. And keep sending in your particular dip, the one dip that you have to have at your Super Bowl party. Scott says the cream cheese Rotel hot sausage crack dip is what he goes with there. Justin weighs in. He says, my wife does a 3-cheese taco dip. The secret is the hot sauce. I collect hot sauce. So she puts in some, it's a rear end is the word he's using, just using it with the 3 letters that I'm not going to say on the radio, blaster dip or hot sauce to take it over the top. So that sounds pretty good. 3-cheese taco dip. Several of you also weighing in with other dips this morning. And if you want to be a part of that, 803-404-6100. Bun says the Simpsons told us the outcome of this game many years ago, 34-31 Bengals. That could be very true because the Simpsons has done weird things like that where they just come up with some kind of weird thing. And Matt asks, this is a good question. So do the Rams use the visitor locker room at their stadium? Is that
maybe? I will look that up, but that's what it would appear to be the case.
That's what we're here for, is to tell you who's using what locker room.
With if you were the Bengals and they asked, like, hey, it's the Super Bowl. I know you're technically the home team, but it is our stadium. Do you mind us just using the home locker room? We already have all our stuff there. Would you say yes? Would you say, yeah, that's fine, we'll take the visitor locker room?
I don't know.
Or would you say, no, screw you, get out?
I don't know if the locker rooms because, the jokes are about, like, Iowa's locker room up at Kinnick Stadium. I guess it's still pink. I don't know if they're still doing that. Scott, our buddy who's the big Michigan State fan, he might have knowledge of that, in terms of if the locker rooms are still pink up there because it's a Big Ten thing. But remember, Hayden Fry painted the locker rooms pink up there. South Carolina's locker room is actually a visiting locker room. Visiting is what we're talking about. South Carolina's visiting team locker room is actually notoriously small. I mean, it's very small in there. I can't remember. Somebody complained about it a year or two ago, maybe 3 years ago.
I would almost guarantee that the visiting locker room at SoFi Stadium is phenomenal.
Well, that's why
because it's a $5.8 billion stadium, and they knew when they built the stadium, we're making it extravagant because we're going to host a lot of events here.
Right.
So they knew that there were going to be like 2 neutral teams playing in that stadium.
Yeah, I would imagine that the Rams is that their locker room is, and I wonder if they have, like, say, 4 locker rooms, like one specifically dedicated to the Rams, and then say 3 others that are like, if you're hosting a high school state championship game or whatever, you can have 4 teams in there at once. I don't know. We'll put Patrick on that. We'll find out as we continue to also figure out how to pay for his parking tickets.
Well, Brian Glenn did just give me a winner. Over how many sacks will happen in this game?
Total?
Yeah.
It's a great question.
Just off the top of your head, how many do you think there will be?
I'd say 9.
Okay. Well, the over-under is 5.
Okay, so I would be going way over the over then. Okay, so I was way up. I thought it'd be 8.5 is where I was going. I was going to take 9.
So go ahead and hammer the over. Agreed.
Out to the Love Chevy phone lines we go. Jack has waited patiently. Jack, I appreciate you for holding on as we went through all that here, but you want to talk a little basketball? How you doing this morning?
Doing great, fella. How you doing?
Doing good.
Good. First of all, hey, to me, the Gamecocks played a great ball game last night. That's just my opinion. The last caller that you had, pretty much jumping out at Frank Martin. I don't like that due to the fact of Frank Martin don't shoot the ball. Frank Martin don't turn the ball over. Frank Martin don't do XYZ on that court. To me, Frank Martin put those boys in a great position to actually win the game. When he go out and when you go out and do stupid plays such as trying to drive and you got an open man out there that may not so much be hot and shooting that night, you know those things happen with great teams that you're playing against. You're gonna either turn the ball over, they're gonna block your shot. He shouldn't. To me, for that play, I know what the play he's talking about. He shouldn't have never went down there or be able to know where the guy's at to dish off. It's just this fact of the Gamecock fans they always jumping back at coaches, whether it's baseball, basketball, football. It doesn't matter. And that they're not out there. We had a bad shooting night. You know, our number 2 players, Stevenson and Reese, they had an off night. But those boys played a great game. And I'm not saying on a moral setting, but it's just the idea. If those 2 guys were just on 5% more, that game would have been much closer, and Carolina probably would have pulled it out just like they did 2 years ago. You know, they beat Kentucky when they was number 1. It didn't happen last night. They played great. They didn't turn the ball over as much. They shot free throws good. They rebounded well. They done some great things. They just had an off shooting night on the outside. But on that inside, they played those big boys like they should have done. And we got some great production out of, like you say, Bryant, Cousineau. You can go down the line pretty much, say. But I just don't like when they jump at the coaches when they are doing their thing. All coaches do that. All of them chew their players out when they make stupid plays. So that shouldn't fear you, because those boys love Frank Martin. They love his coaching, I believe, and they play hard for Frank Martin and themselves. That's all I just have to say. Stop jumping at the coaches and allow these boys to win. Nobody said nothing when they won 3 in a row before they played Tennessee. Frank Martin being the top dog then. You know, Frank Martin do great coaching, and he do the right thing. I want him around. I don't know nobody else that can come in here and at this moment and be able to take his spot and give Carolina where they want to go within the next 2 or 3 years. I don't see nobody with that team that he got. He got a good team, and I think they're going to stick together. Y'all have a great day.
Appreciate the phone call, Jack. 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in. South Carolina again, 86-76 last night. They fall to Kentucky. Halftime of the game, Patrick, was pretty entertaining, though, because Steve Spurrier comes out of nowhere. Probably could have used a haircut, by the way. That was the one complaint I had. And I see people talking about how he has the same garnet coat that he always wears. But we'll get back out to the
Money's
love.
tight.
Only has one.
Yeah, just one. Yeah, he hangs in there. What'd you say, Jen?
Money's tight for him.
Money's tight. Yeah, well, I've talked to people. Spurrier's not a guy who likes to spend a dime. He's frugal. Is that the right use of frugal?
Yeah,
like he's
cheap.
He's yeah.
Is he?
And a whole lot of money coming out of that man's hand.
Really? What's he doing with it?
What I've talked to a couple people, former coaches. He's got some nice houses. He got a nice house down, and I think he still has the one.
Owns a bar.
A restaurant, but I think you get multiple owners in that. I don't think he just said, "Hey, let's spend some money on a restaurant." So, yeah, I'm pretty sure that coat last night was one that's been in the
spends
closet.
a lot on memberships to golf clubs.
That he may. He may. Golf club equipment. 803-404-6100. We'll get back out to the Love Chevy phone lines. We'll give you some more NFL props, get back into the bean dip conversation. And there was actually some coaching news yesterday that we've barely touched on in regards to South Carolina hiring another off-the-field analyst that was a former player. We'll tell you about that. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. Yes, it is nice today. Well, I think it's supposed to be nicer. To be honest, I haven't listened to Jen much when it comes to the weather reports. I kind of do my own research on that. But it's supposed to be nice. Saturday's actually supposed to be 70. You might actually have to turn the air conditioner on in your house. The question is, after using your heating system for the last several days, is your air conditioner going to work? And then when summer rolls around, you really want that air conditioner working because, well, unless you're just brand new to the area or haven't read a magazine, Columbia is famously hot, and it feels that way. So you need to make sure your heating and air unit is working properly. Call Roy and Dana Finley with AAA Heating and Air. That is who I go to when I need help with my heating and air system because they treat me like a family member, and not just because I'm short enough to be one of their kids. It's because they want to treat all their customers the same way, like a family member, and make sure you and your family are taken care of. So don't wait any longer. 803-677-1500. Call AAA Heating and Air today. Tell them you heard it here with Bill Gunner on 107.5 The Game. $59 is all it will take to get an inspection of your unit. Make sure everything's working properly. And if something's wrong, don't worry. That family part that I keep talking about, why I trust and believe in AAA Heating and Air, it comes into play. If you have a problem, if you need a brand new heating and air unit, they'll offer you a $1,500 buyback, a rebate of your old unit, then work with you. For those who qualify, no money down, 0% financing on a brand new unit. And finally, a 15-year parts and labor warranty. That means they will be there to help continue making sure that unit is working correctly. 803-677-1500. Call AAA Heating and Air today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
All right, I've missed a lot of texts since. I'm gonna scroll all the way back to where I actually saw the texts because. Yeah, I'm all the way back to the Italy discussion. I did see Danny say, yeah, that's not true. I lived in Italy for 4 years because I had said that I thought that everyone in Italy just eats pasta for every meal. And in my heart, I know that's not true, but that's just what I imagine. They just eat Italian food. So I would love to go. top of my bucket list right now. What's a shrimp ring? Oh, just like shrimp and cocktail sauce. Is that what he's talking about? Yeah, that's classic. That's an absolute classic. Don't really love cocktail sauce, but I'll put like a dab of it on. Hope you are the number one Top Gun fan on the live stream by far. I'm excited for it too, but oh yeah. Yeah. See, Danny, I have normally when I would come in for the evening shows, I would pay it, but you can only pay an hour or something like that on the spots right here, and I would just forget. I would be recording audio or doing something, I just forget. Props are not sucker bets. Quite the opposite. That's why they limit what you can bet on them, because they're not for suckers. Some props are for suckers. Agreed.
Actually, I'll talk for a minute and call for that Frank Martin audio. You still got that? 8:28 on a Wednesday morning, February the 9th. What we have been talking about this morning has ranged from Super Bowl prop bets that we'll get back into to South Carolina's 86-76 loss last night to Kentucky at Colonial Life Arena. Here's a little audio from Frank Martin following the game against the Wildcats. Frank Martin last night, again, talking to the media following the game. The Gamecocks drop an 86-76 decision there to the Wildcats. They fall to 13-10 on the season, 4-7 in conference play. They'll be back on the court this coming Saturday at Georgia. That game time, by the way, has been moved to 2 p.m., and you can hear it right here on 107.5. The game will also be on the SEC network. Next week, Patrick, they go to Mississippi, and that will be followed by a February 19th Saturday home game against LSU. Yeah, you can blame the shooting. You can talk about the defense. You can talk about a lot of things. The road home for this team, now trying to finish above 500 for the season, is going to be very difficult, and something that certainly we'll continue to get into as we go through. We've also been talking Super Bowl prop bets this morning. We'll get back into those here in just a second. You're befuddled by the sack one, right?
Yeah.
That's the one that really has thrown you off.
Props to Brian Glenn.
I want to get into the passing yardage as well. Okay, the caller has left. We'll go back into the prop bets then. That was good. I was going to get his take on the basketball thing, but let's go back into this. You like the you're big on the sacks. You like the over into that, I'm going to assume.
Yeah, I mean, well, I just don't. Maybe it is a sucker bet because we all know the number 9 now, and we can't get it out of our heads that Joe Burrow was sacked 9 times against the Titans, and now he's going up against one of the best pass rushes in the league with the single best player in the league in Aaron Donald, in my opinion, and then Von Miller, who's playing really well right now, Leonard Floyd on the opposite side, who's another good pass rusher. You would just think that, yeah, they're going to get destroyed on the offensive line. Joe Burrow is going to have to stand in there and take some sacks. It doesn't make a lot of sense for me. I mean, it's juiced way to the over. So, I mean, it's minus 155 on my book where I'm looking. So it's not like there's tremendous value in it, but if you feel really confident in it, why not hammer it?
Some of the other current prop bets I'm looking at, we're using VegasInsider.com, and it appears they've got their own props and not necessarily associated with a particular sports book in Vegas. Super Bowl 56 passing yards. Joe Burrow over under 276.5.
they're just so good at picking numbers. That's tough. Because you think, everyone's just going to think, oh, yeah, 300 yards, Joe Burrow, Super Bowl. He's going to easily throw for 300 yards. He's always great in big games. But a large part of me thinks that for the Bengals to win this game, they're going to have to try and keep these pass rushers on their heels. They're going to have to run the ball a lot and be stubborn with it. And even if it's not working really, they're going to just continue to do it. And they've been stubborn. I was ready to rip my hair out in the Chiefs game when every single first down, 1st and 10, Joe Mixon run. And it was every single play. It seemed like every second down was a 2nd and 9. Every third down was a 3rd and 7 or more. And Joe Burrow had to just stand in there and make plays on 3rd and long every possession because they just would not stop running the ball. And it's what a lot of people have been killing Zach Taylor for all season. And it was that late stretch of the season where he decided to let Joe cook and started throwing on 1st down. Of all the analytical trends, that's like the number one thing that everyone points to is you got to throw on 1st down because the defense doesn't know what's coming. They always expect you to run on 1st down, so it's your best opportunity to potentially make a play. So I just do think that at the end of the day, Aaron Donald cannot be allowed to pin his ears back on every play and get after Joe Burrow. Von Miller cannot be allowed to jump the snap and know that he's coming after Joe Burrow on every single play. They're going to have to run the ball a little bit. It's a good way to tire people out. Aaron Donald is already eating double teams on every single play. Get 2 guys pushing him on every play. Like, it might be their only hope of keeping Joe safe.
I'll give you Joe Mixon's over-under rushing yards here in just a second. But first, right now, 803-404-6100. You're familiar with the game squares of the regular Super Bowl. Well, we've got our own big game board, and you can earn a square right now. Call 803-404-6100. We'll take callers 4 and 5. Callers 4 and 5. You can win a pair of tickets to Elton John at Colonial Life Arena on April 20th. Maybe a pair of tickets to Red Hot Chili Peppers at Bank of America Stadium on September 1st. A 3-night stay at Kiowa Island. It is the 107.5 The Game Big Game Board. Your spot will be posted on Facebook and on Twitter on Sunday morning. We'll take callers 4 and 5 right now. You can win a spot on our big game board. Again, a bunch of prizes, pair of tickets to Elton John, pair of tickets to Red Hot Chili Peppers, a 3-night stay at Kiowa Island. So plenty to win there. If you call right now, 803-404-6100 is how you can do that. Over under rushing yards, Patrick. Who would you assume is expected to have more rushing yards, Joe Mixon or Cam Akers?
I would expect Joe Mixon.
Vegas has set the line on Joe Mixon rushing yards for a prop bet 63.5. Now, based on what you just said, everything you just said, listening to you talk about the Burrow passing yards and everything, I would lean with Mixon in the under. That's minus 110. The juice is actually a little bit more on the over. It feels like Vegas is leaning that he will have more than 63.5 yards rushing.
So I just looked. He had 88 against the Chiefs. He had 21 attempts. It's going to have to be something like that. He's going to have 20 attempts against the Rams. The Rams defense is better, though, obviously, than the Chiefs. Man, that's a good number. That's a really good number. You just got to think that he's going to break one at some point. I think if I had to, I would probably take the over on that. I think I would.
Is that part of the strategy, which everything you just talked about with Joe Burrow and with Zach Taylor and throwing the ball on 1st down and the analytics and everything?
Zach Taylor really likes to play complimentary football.
But is this going to be a game on Sunday afternoon in which the Bengals have to run the ball? You just can't hand it over to Joe Burrow and let him go out against that defense and drop back 35, 40, 45 times. You're saying that for them to win, I feel like one thing you're saying here is that Cam, for them to win, Joe Mixon does need to get over the 63.5. They can't win if he goes under.
No, I don't even know if it's about yards. I think Joe Burrow thrives in an empty backfield. And they have skill players. If CJ Uzomah plays, which I think I have gotten indications that he will play in some capacity, go ahead and let Joe Burrow throw the ball 40 times. I don't care. I think he can do it because I think that even if the Rams get after him and sack him a bunch of times, he's going to be fine. He has been. It's been proven. So I don't think that Joe Mixon has to have a big game for them to win, but I do think that's going to be the thought process. And there is merit to it. Obviously, when you're talking about pass rushers, you got to keep them on their toes a little bit. If they know that you're going to pass, then they're just going to pin their ears back and they're going to attack. And you need to kind of push them backwards and make them defend the run. It'll tire them out. It'll do all sorts of stuff like that. So I think that the Bengals will be planning to establish the run and commit to the run game pretty much no matter what, even if it's not working. That's what I'm expecting because that's what they've done most of the season.
A few other prop bets to get to here that we find kind of interesting. Cam Akers, by the way, the over-under on his rushing yards, 58.5. Over-under on Matthew Stafford rushing yards was 5.5. Couple here as we scroll down to some of the more interesting ones. The largest lead odds, Patrick. Largest
15,
lead in the
right?
game. 14.5 is it. Over 14.5 is plus 100. Under 14.5 is minus 130. That to me, I like that line, and I like the fact that the money is the juice is on the under, because that tells me if it's not more than a 2-touchdown game, we should have a pretty entertaining, pretty fun game.
I can't imagine. It would really, really, really surprise me if this game gets to more than a 14-point lead on either side. I don't think they're necessarily evenly matched. I think the talent is not even at all. And I actually pulled up the PFF lineups. We can get into that, where they rank and grade all of the players, and that shows that it's not at all even. But I think maybe that's an overreaction to that they've gotten down big. Both those high-profile games against the Chiefs, the Bengals got down big and they clawed back, and they've kind of been that kind of team that's been feisty and doesn't go away. And it was 21-3 at halftime in the AFC Championship. Even the Rams got up big in the NFC Championship, and the Bucs came back and tied it up, and then the Rams obviously buried them with that 80-yard, whatever it was, pass to Cooper Kupp. So both of the championship games involved big leads. I just don't think it's going to happen. I would be really surprised if after 3 drives or at halftime, if it's 20-3. Like, that would really surprise me. I think it's going to be a close game.
I was trying to think if 0-3. I don't know how many people are excited if they're on a Super Bowl square number board and they have a 0 and a 3.
Yeah.
But you might feel pretty good about that. Maybe you like that. One or two others here that I was looking at. How about this one? 2-point conversion odds. You feel like you see now some of these teams, they get sneaky. They try and sneak. Now I will say the NFL is different, because when you go to kick the field goal, you move the ball so far back
yards.
as opposed to faking out somebody like we saw South Carolina do in the bowl game against North Carolina. But a 2-point conversion, Patrick, I don't like this odds. Yes, there will be a 2-point conversion, plus 250. No, minus the 360.
Is that there will be one converted or there will be one attempted?
2-point conversion odds. Conversions.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
I think there will be.
Kind of on board with that. So there's a bunch of different props that you can get into. Again, you can go check out VegasInsider.com for all of that tomorrow. We will have Brian Edwards on for his weekly pick segment, and we will go through that. I think Patrick's excited to ask about the sack odds, which again you said they got to be like a 5.5 though. Can't be.
No, it's 5.
It's right on the number 5. Okay. All right. So we'll get into that with Brian tomorrow, 8:05 here on our program. It's Bill Gunner. It's Patrick Pratt. It's Jen Jensen. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. It is definitely the time of year where cold weather can affect the joints, the ligaments, your muscles, your tissues. And if you're suffering from pain and you think the only option is steroids or pain medication or even worse, surgery, it's time to call QC Kinetics today and get a free consultation for how QC Kinetics can get you back to living the life you want to live. 803-281-6860. That's how you can get in touch with QC Kinetics today. And again, if you're suffering from pain in your joints, your elbows, your knees, your wrist, it's time to call QC Kinetics and find out just how great their new line of therapy is that won't slow you down, that won't cause you to have to take addictive pain medications or even surgery. You actually have other options. Find out for yourself. Find out how you can get real, lasting, life-changing relief from QC Kinetics today with a phone call and a free consultation. 803-281-6860. It is advanced, unique treatment protocol using natural biologic agents, mostly from your own body. These powerful, highly concentrated growth factors are put directly into your affected joints, allowing them to soothe the inflammation and restore damaged tissue. I'm telling you, you need to find out for yourself. If it's good for a former football player like Emmitt Smith, it's definitely going to be good for someone like you. 803-281-6860. Give QC Kinetics a phone call today. Oh. Troy, you missed a big weekend in basketball. Brian went 7-1 this weekend in basketball games. He might have gone 8-1. I didn't look at his final one on Sunday. Go back and look and see if he got under in the is it Sunday? Yeah, Nevada, San Diego State. He had under 130, and the final was 65-63. 8-1. He went 8-1 in basketball this weekend. Let me see what his text message said on late Sunday when we were going back and forth and sharing information. Oh, goodness. Yeah, final one, under 130 in Nevada, San Diego State game. About to tip. Nevada's leading and fourth leading scorers are out. So, yeah, you missed a good weekend on that, though. Made a couple dollars. Oh, you're talking about the basketball coach at Liberty? Who's the basketball coach at Liberty? Which is that Richie? Yeah, Richie McKay. He's 56. Not real sure. He actually had a real good year in football. He finished above 500. Troy, you got to start putting your picks out every week. From now on, you got to put your picks out for football every week, and we have to judge your picks. He finished above 500 in football. I think it was something. I'd have to go back and look.
It's a tough job because people like Troy probably put money on one or two games.
Yeah,
that
you
Brian
gotta.
picked and
I don't.
or just tailed him on one bad weekend, and now they forever think that you suck at your job.
Yeah, I don't. I do my own research on it. I didn't take all 9 of his games this weekend. I took a couple, but I do my own research. I've done a lot better in hockey lately. Hockey is where I was where I've really done well. I struggled in basketball this weekend. I lost Kansas on Monday night too. I took a chance on Kansas. I did have Kentucky in a money line parlay last night that I started, and I got an open spot tonight. Alan, I was actually at the South Carolina game last night, and then ended up at Halls at like 9:00, 9:15. It was packed there for a Tuesday night. Let's see what's out there that's good today. Did the Capitals win last night? I did kind of like the Capitals, but I didn't take them. They were hosting somebody.
They were hosting the Columbus.
Yeah, the Blue Jackets.
Yeah, they lost.
Ooh, glad I didn't take that. Cincinnati on the road, maybe tonight. I hate taking road teams. I've been doing those money line parlays.
I can't believe that we're about to do another hour.
Yeah. Baylor on the road at Kansas State. That might not be a bad one. Minus 260 on the money line. They're -6 tonight. But I hate, again, road teams is not where you're going to make money. Just glancing here at more hockey. Ooh! Arizona Coyotes and Seattle Kraken tonight. That is a brutal hockey match. It's actually the Predators and the Stars play at 8:00. That'll be a good hockey game. And the Red Wings and Flyers. I'd probably lean, if I'm going to fill out this money line parlay, I might lean Baylor tonight. That might be the direction it goes. There you go. Develop a bookie. I'm not sure what the legal aspects of that are. Well, final few moments of this particular program, but never fear. We are sticking around one more hour. Pearson is out today, so Jen, myself, Patrick, we will. Well, two of us will sprint to the meters real quick, to get money. I'll handle it. I got it. I think I got quarters on me, so no, they're in the car.
Yeah, I think I have some in the car. No, we'll go.
We'll go in a second. We got to get some exercise.
Is the next hour going to start with Pearson's opener?
Can we switch that?
Yeah.
Oh, look at us doing work.
People suggested. I do on Friday. We probably have to do all. Yeah, because I did the preview show last year. I played all weekend.
Oh! You played all.
All the weekend,
I see.
so-
I see what you did there. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was confused at
So
first.
we need to find a nice playlist of Eminem. We already do have some Eminem songs in here. Dr.
Are people
Dre.
excited about the Super Bowl halftime? I see people that are fired up, and I'm not being mean about this. It's more my age, like I would say the 37 to 47 range, kind of that genre. Because Snoop came along. I remember Snoop was probably I was in middle school, maybe just a tad before. I think 94ish. 90, 93, 94. I know Tupac was a little more late 80s. Dre, I believe, was early 90s as part of what was it?
NWA.
NWA. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know why that completely
Wow, I was
went
gonna
away.
say, was that?
I
Were you thinking of something different, or did you really
well,
blank
I
on
was-
that one?
it was Easy E, and I was trying to I just blanked on NWA. I knew it, but yeah. But are people? Do you guys think do y'all get excited? The halftime shows have come a long way. I mean, if you go back to the
Weeknd last year spent millions of his own dollars on it because it was also for a lot of people. I think it was right before they would go on tour. So I think the Weeknd's Super Bowl halftime show was right before he started a tour. So wanted to make sure that he was selling tickets by putting on an epic show. Yeah, it was big time. I'm excited for this one because I know and like all of the people in it, but I don't know that their music is conducive to censored performances. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's what they have to do. They have to play edited versions of their songs, right? I don't know.
Here's
there there is a prop of will Eminem be censored?
Oh yeah.
I don't think so.
I'm not being funny about this. You get fired up to do the Super Bowl halftime show, right? This is a big deal. And real quick,
they're gonna be on a delay.
Do you have any idea? I got $100 bill on me. Can either of you tell me? I don't even know if this is the name of a band or what it is. Without looking it, can you tell me? You're gonna have to take a wild guess who the 1989, the last time the Bengals were in the Super Bowl, who the halftime performer was or performance. This is how far the Super Bowl's come. What is this? This is 89.
I mean,
99,
I couldn't
20,
tell you the
30,
halftime
32 years ago.
performer for almost any Super Bowl ever. Because I
Really?
just don't know them off the top of my head.
I don't know the exact one, like Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars was the first one.
I don't remember what year it
Bruno
was.
Mars was the first one that I was like, wow, Bruno Mars is really good. He was
He
coming
was-
to Colonial Life Arena the
he
next
was
month, and I was
awesome.
like, I got to go see him.
He was
He's
one of the
good.
exactly. He was that was exactly what it should have been. 'cause-
Katy Perry's was unique,
but you don't
because
know
of
the
the dancing
years.
shark.
So no, I don't know the year.
89. You want to take a guess?
Is it one word? Is it?
It's 3 words. And you've never heard of them.
I bet I have.
No, you haven't.
Who are they?
I don't even. That's actually about as close as you might actually come. Bebop Bamboozled.
You don't know Bebop Bamboozled? Triple B, the original Triple B. No, I've never heard
Just-
Bebop
yeah,
Bamboozled.
hit you with a mic. I was looking at the national anthem. This is the 1989, the 88 season, 89.
They're not
Super
even
Bowl.
on Spotify.
Sorry, guys.
It's listed. It's listed. It says, I'm looking at.
Are you looking at all of the all-time halftime? show
I'll
performers?
look at it in a minute.
Who
I'll-
was the
hold on.
first one that where it became like a big thing?
Because hold on, Billy Joel did the national anthem the last time the Bengals were in the Super Bowl. Billy Joel was the national anthem, the coin toss. Nick Bonacucci, is that right? Did I say that correctly? Does that ring a bell with y'all?
Bonaducci?
No, there's not
No.
a D. He was he was a middle linebacker for the Boston Patriots. I'm reading it, Boston Patriots and Miami Dolphins. Let's see if we've got let me see here if I can give you a list real quick. List of Super Bowl halftime shows. So it kind of went mainstream, I guess, in the 90s. Here we go. The 1990 Super Bowl theme was Salute to New Orleans and the 40th anniversary of Peanuts. So you had that.
Nice.
The
Linus played.
Apparently so. So it looks like the Super Bowl. This would make sense. I'm going to give you a guess. 1993 is when it looks like the Super Bowl really went mainstream with a big act.
Schroeder plays the piano. My bad.
Okay. 93 in Pasadena is when it went mainstream. Big name artist, no longer with us. I don't want to say controversial at the end of his lifetime, but part of a big family.
Michael Jackson.
There you go. Michael Jackson was the big one. And then
what year was his sister? That was when it that was
It got a little interesting.
Yeah.
That had to be 2009.
No, I think it was way before that.
Was it really?
Yeah.
See, I'm
I'm
not
looking.
good
I'm
at
just going
dates.
through them. 2001 was Aerosmith and NSYNC.
Yeah,
That was a good one.
That's insane.
I remember that. How about that?
I do know U2 because that was in the wake of that was right after 9/11. It was only a couple months after 9/11.
Aerosmith.
YouTube, I watched a documentary on
They
that.
had that was a good one. They had special guest appearances from Britney Spears, Mary J. Blige, and Nelly. The following year was U2. The following year, Shania Twain and No Doubt.
Nice.
Sting made an appearance. Then you had the big one. This is the one you were just asking about. February 1st, 2004 in Houston, Texas. Jessica Simpson, Nelly, Kid Rock, Justin Timberlake, P. Diddy,
Man.
and Janet.
So Justin
Jackson.
Timberlake has performed at least 3
Okay, see, I didn't
Super Bowl
realize
halftime
that.
shows
Oh,
because
he's
he was
the-
on obviously in NSYNC. He was in that one, and then he did it by himself a couple years ago.
Did he?
Justin Timberlake is the king of Super Bowl halftime.
My goodness. See,
He's
here's
good.
this other one, the 2012 one, LMFAO, Cirque du Soleil. Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj was around in 2012?
I don't remember that. Oh, when Madonna headlined it. Okay. I barely remember that. Who played in that game?
If you're wondering why we're talking about this and we didn't wrap up with sports, it's because guess what? We get to do another hour. We won't inundate you with sports talk, with halftime stuff. We'll get back into the sports. You're listening to the early game overtime segment. One more hour. We'll be right back.
I guess I'll keep the live stream.
Yes, Prince was amazing. Oh my god.
This is the most Chris with the most old man take. I'll watch Grass Grow before I watch that halftime show. Get someone that people want to hear and have them push their junk at me. There hasn't been a good halftime show since Paul McCartney or Prince. I'll pass on the hip hop halftime.
Oh wow. But we've neglected the hip hop fans, so they have to.
Yeah. Get someone that people want to watch. They're 5 of the biggest artists of all time.
Right.
I mean, just because you don't. That's what I love when people say that. No one likes this hip hop crap. Just because they don't
Maybe
like
no
it.
one that you know.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
Yeah.
I don't like that, so no one likes it. Oh my
Somebody mentioned
gosh.
Ice Cube.
How is
at
the
at
FCC
the
allowing
Clash.
a vulgar gangster rap concert on live TV? Ferrari. Come on.
Well, I'm sure they're keeping that in mind.
Yeah, I mean, they know. They're going to censor it. They're going to probably make censored versions of their songs. The Weeknd has lots of explicit songs, and he played last year. Let me pull up the list of people. Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be on a delay either way. lot of our audience showing their age right now. Didn't want to go there. That was really cool. I think that was the Patriots Seahawks Super Bowl. I think that was what it was because I'm pretty sure I was watching that in my dorm room at Wagner College. For some reason that doesn't surprise me, Travis. I don't care if people don't like Eminem or Snoop. Like, I don't blame you for not liking that. But to say no one likes that and just inaccurate. Have you guys ever heard Alshon or seen on Twitter going around the Alshon Jeffrey clip of him at Media Day? Has anybody seen that? Jen, can you hear me? Have you seen the clip of Alshon Jeffrey at Super Bowl Media Day?
No, I've not.
Maybe I'll send it to you. This might be fun to play.
Yeah.
They basically ask him, hey, how are you liking Super Bowl week? And he said, this sucks. We should have just stayed in Philly. This is a waste of time. What am I doing? And they said something, asked him about Justin Timberlake performing, and he was just poo-pooing everything the guy said. It is censored. I listened to a censored version of it.
Oh, dang.
I just saw it on Warren Sharp, the best Super Bowl player interview ever. If we need to kill a minute, that would be fun to play. RT, you've seen it? Yeah. It's a great clip. I don't know how I didn't see it before.
Oh, gosh. Why is it putting us in so soon? That's not good.
But we can start. Bill's back, I think.
Well, we can just start. We're just going to do the 3 regular breaks.
Oh, and hello. Hour number 4 of the early game. Yes, hour number 4 of the early game. I am glad that we got the early game bump music in there because coming in, everybody would have been very disappointed if we had Pearson's techno music playing and they didn't get to hear Pearson's voice. So hour number 4. We're here.
Bill's feeding the parking meter right now.
Yeah,
this is legal.
Yeah, this is never an issue for us because we always go 6 to 9 and they don't check parking until 9 a.m. So Bill had to run outside in between our end hour breaks and go pay the meter for us. Bill, are we all paid up? How much time did you give us?
We're good until 10:10.
Okay, 10:10. So that means
Got
we're
an hour
running
and
out of here
12
at 10.
minutes.
Okay. Well, welcome into hour 4, Bill. How you
Good
feeling?
job, Bill.
That was a really somber reintroduction to hour 4. It's a much more casual hour 4 because we've already done our
Still chilly out there. That's what I've figured out. It's not warmed up quite like I was hoping it would just yet. So yeah,
If you listened to like when I do traffic and weather, you would have heard that it's still like 33. So thanks for listening.
I have to listen to you enough for 3 hours.
really?
Hour 4 does not count as having to listen to you. I've maxed out on Jen for today, and now this hour just will be one more thing. If you want to weigh in, you can join us. Coming up next hour, Terry Ford will fill in from 10 to 11. Jay Phillips from 11 to 12. I believe Pearson will be back tomorrow.
Better be. We're not doing 4 hours again tomorrow.
Yeah, we max out. This is a tough job we do, talking to you for 3 hours. Hope you're having a great morning. Welcome in.
My mental clock is set for sleep right now.
Patrick's done right now.
Yeah.
This is not his normal.
I was
time.
actually because I didn't know we were doing 4 hours. So I had my whole morning planned out where I was going to run home and watch the season finale of Boba Fett.
How's that going for you?
The first 2 episodes were really bad, and my dad is a huge Star Wars guy, and he even called me to ask. He was like, "Hey, like basically, are we in the trust tree right now?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Have you watched Boba Fett?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "It's not very good."
Really?
And he was really disappointed because obviously we both love Star Wars, and Boba Fett's maybe he doesn't have much screen time, but he's a classic character. But yeah, we did not enjoy the first episodes, but there are a lot of cameos in the last 4, and it became really good. So yeah, I did. I'm thoroughly enjoying Boba Fett now. I binged it. I binged episodes 3 through 6 this weekend.
Okay, so we've got that going. If you want to get involved this morning, you can certainly do it with us here. The next hour, we'll hang around, fill in for Pearson. If you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100 is how you can be a part of the program. We spent 3 hours. Thank you. See, Jen's now just.
I'm just gonna have more fun.
Jen's also,
Hotkeys.
This is just going to be a fun hour.
I miss when this was a touchscreen and I could press hotkeys too.
I know, right? Because there's just some really good opportunities. If we are missing out on hearing from Gamecock Larry.
That's true. Do you think should we take up prop bets? Does Gamecock Larry call this hour thinking he's getting on with Pearson?
Yeah.
Like, does he starts his routine all over again? Does he think like, all right, now it's time to call in to get on the extra
my
point?
reset. And when I answer the phone, he'll freak out.
And if
I
he
was going to
does,
say
do we
it
put him
would
back on?
confuse him so greatly if he called in and we're still on. He won't know if it's morning or like.
Do we put him back on, or do we have a 1 call per show limit?
Wait, we're sticking with a 1.
Is this
call.
the same show?
This is.
Are we counting this as the early?
This
game
counts
show?
as our show. We're going to take an hour off at some point in the next few weeks. 1 hour. We'll just come. We'll make. We're not sure if it'll be
Pearson's
6 to 8.
Pearson's gonna come.
Six to 8 will be one morning. I want to tell you about our Spring Golf Open, the 2022 1075 The Game Spring Open, Friday, March 18th at the Windermere Club in Blythewood. You can sign up right now. Head to 1075 The Game for registration info. We're actually doing something pretty cool with this one. Normally, you're accustomed to 4-man Captain's Choice teams. This one will be a little bit different. It'll be 2-person Captain's Choice teams, $200 per team, and again, a 2-man Captain's Choice event, so that'll make it a little bit more fun. 10 a.m. shotgun start out at the Windermere Club in Blythewood. We'll have raffle prizes closest to the pin, $1 million hole sponsored by Buford Lending, plus free breakfast and lunch. All entries also get a free golf membership at the Windermere Club until March 31st. You can go to 1075thegame.com for registration info. Again, it'll be our Spring Golf Open March 18th, which is a Friday. And Patrick will be the first weekend of the NCAA tournament. And last night, South Carolina falls 86-76. But part of our discussion this morning was what we believe, what both of us are kind of in agreement is the very good the status of college basketball, which I said a couple weeks ago. I think it's heading in the right direction. The NBA hasn't, the NCAA or the NBA, I guess, in terms of one and dones, has not necessarily stepped in to stop it. But what they've done is open up the G League to players that want to go ahead and skip college. You've seen the Overtime League. I still don't know what exactly this is, the Overtime Elite, where they're signing players. So you're kind of weeding out some of the guys who are just showing up for almost a semester is really what it was.
Basically.
Showing up for a semester and then moving on.
I mean, yes, I never really got on board with the college basketball stinks now, though. I mean, I've always enjoyed it, and the one and dones has just been part of it, and I've accepted that. I mean, at this point, shoot, when was Kevin Durant? That was the first year of one and dones, right? The Kevin Durant year. And that had to have been 10 years ago at least, right?
Kevin Durant is
I mean, he would have been drafted.
I think it was 14 or 15 years ago. I mean, he's 30.
So, I mean,
he's 33, and so yeah, I mean, he was drafted in 2007.
Okay, so half of my life has been watching that brand of college basketball, the one and done era of college basketball. So the majority of my adult life has been all of my adult life, actually, because I was 12 years old at that point, has been spent watching the one and done era. So I still liked college basketball, and what was great about college basketball was always and has remained great about college basketball. It's the fans and it's the environments, and that's still happening. I think so far the most memorable part of college basketball season this year, to me, has been the environment in Lubbock, Texas, when Chris Beard came back and they just lit him up, and it was awesome. And there was the Indiana Purdue game earlier this season was phenomenal. Like there's still all the great environments. People were all up in a tizzy for the UNC fans chanting F Coach K, but that's just college basketball. I thought that was awesome. Not just because I don't like Coach K, but because that's just college basketball, and they're college kids, and that's what they're going to do. So was it classy? No, not at all. But that's what it is. That's a heated rivalry. They hate each other. You had to cover your kids' ears if you were in the arena that night, but so be it. That's just what it is. So college basketball has never changed in that regard. It's just you don't have the relationships with players that you developed over 4 years anymore, and that's starting to come back. So I'm with you that it's better, but I never thought it got bad in the first place.
Well, I think last year was kind of the tipping point, and it had nothing to do with the players. It was when you took the fans out of the arenas. You and I talked about that.
That was what was great about college basketball was gone.
You saw what it was like to have the atmosphere at great college basketball games. Troy weighs in on the Buford Lending live stream, which is still up and running. You can go be a part of that. Go to youtube.com, search 107.5 The Game. Join us where Troy, Allen, Larry, RL, Ferrari all weighing in. But Troy says one and dones has hurt college basketball. It has to an extent. I think they've cleaned some of it up. Again, what is it? There's 5 guys, I think, that skipped college basketball this year and went straight to the G League, if I'm thinking correctly, maybe 6.
I mean, I pulled up the mock draft, and there's Team Ignite, I think, is that G League team. There's Gene Montero is an overtime elite. Marjan Beauchamp.
Yep.
G League Ignite. Dyson Daniels, G League Ignite.
Yeah, and so
it's a handful of guys.
Yeah, so the point on that is that I was mentioning the golf tournament March 18th. I think that particular weekend, the first weekend of the NCAA tournament, and because of what Patrick and I were talking about last night, South Carolina loses 86-76 to Kentucky, who is currently a top 5 team, and the parity that is in college basketball. When you look at the rankings, and last night Auburn loses on the road to Arkansas 80-76, so we'll have a new number 1. But let me just give you the top 10 right now. And Patrick, I think all 10 of these are capable not just of getting to the Final Four, but winning the national championship. As of last night, again, Auburn lost, so they're now 22-2. But you've got Auburn, Gonzaga, Purdue, Arizona, Kentucky, Houston in Conference USA with Kelvin Sampson. I think is fully capable. They're very athletic. I watched them thump Cincinnati over the weekend. Duke, we know, has got some great players. Kansas is really good. Texas Tech and Baylor. There's your top 10. And you mentioned Providence is at number 11. Ed Cooley. I watched them over the I watched Providence over the weekend, and they've got Justin Minaya, and he was doing some nice things.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in College Park, Maryland that think Ed Cooley is going to be the next coach. I'm not sure if he would do that.
There was a big discussion there about how much Providence or Maryland might be able to offer him. So I guess the point we're making on this is that, obviously the season for South Carolina, for Clemson, not going necessarily the way you might want, but I think college basketball is putting out a really good brand. Last night, speaking of Clemson, they fall to North Carolina up at Little John Coliseum, 79-77. Armando Bacot with 24 points. PJ Hall, the former Dorman standout, now with Clemson, scoring 24 as well. But the Tigers lose last night 79-77. They fall to 12-11 on the season as well. They are 11th in the ACC. So Brad Brownell, it could be interesting to see what Clemson does with him at the end of the season. Obviously, here we've been talking about what the direction of South Carolina basketball may go in. Clemson is kind of in the same boat now as they've lost 6 of their last 8, and they've lost their last 2 there, Georgia Tech over the weekend, and then losing last night. They will play Duke on Thursday night at Cameron Indoor. That game will be 8 o'clock on the ACC network. So a little bit of basketball talk this morning. We've also gotten into the Super Bowl talk want to kind of revisit that. How much did we learn about Jim Plunkett in our segment? If you mentioned it earlier, Patrick had a great question, a great stat. If any quarterbacks had won 2 Super Bowls, had 2 Super Bowl rings, starting quarterbacks, not just not any quarterback, but 2 has started and won 2 Super Bowls and is not in the Hall of Fame, and we found the answer.
Yeah, I mean, I went through the whole list. Bart Starr, Bob Greasy, Terry Bradshaw, Roger Staubach, Joe Montana, Troy Aikman, John Elway, and then we get to the modern era where it's Peyton, Tom Brady, Eli Manning, Ben Roethlisberger. Those guys are all going to be Hall of Famers. But yeah, there is one, and it turns out that that's kind of what he's known for because it's in his bio of his Wikipedia page. And Jim Plunkett, quarterback for the Raiders, is the only quarterback to, as a starter, win 2 Super Bowls and not be a Hall of Famer. And I was wondering, is he a Hall of Fame snub? Like, do people consider him to be a snub? And I think the answer is no. I think he kind of stinks. Hope mentioned that she always thought that he should be a Hall of Famer. She's a Raiders fan. She's a little biased. His stats are quite bad. I mean, Bill, has 164 career touchdowns, 198 career interceptions. In 9 of his 16 seasons, he threw more interceptions than touchdowns. So his resume, certainly not Hall of Fame caliber.
So they won despite Jim Plunkett being the
kind of.
But was that, now you went back and looked, that was the Marcus Allen years.
It was the Marcus Allen years. One of the Super Bowls I know was the Redskins. They've been to 4, won 3. I know that they lost, and there's a legendary Marcus Allen run in that Super Bowl that they lost. So my dad had texted me that too. He said Marcus Allen was what killed them, not Jim Plunkett. So I said, was Jim Plunkett good? And he said no. Just straight no. He wasn't good. No, nobody actually thought he was very good. He was the offensive rookie of the year, though, as a rookie.
Just interesting there. So Matthew Stafford going for his first Super Bowl. And, you know, Matthew Stafford, as we have discussed on our program a good bit this week, he's not we don't label him as an older quarterback. He's 34 years of age. He just turned 34, actually, Monday. So he's just turning 34. But at this point in time, we've seen quarterbacks go later in their career. He has been sacked a lot, Patrick. Like, if you look at his, playing in Detroit has some health hazards, and he has been sacked a lot, and he's had some injuries. So it's hard to say that he's got another 4 or 5 years in him, but it's been a renaissance this year with touchdowns for him, 41 touchdowns thrown. Certainly playing under Sean McVay has helped, but it's also hard to envision him playing another 5 years with the number of sacks he's taken during his time in Detroit.
He is really tough, though. Like, I think that's underrated that he has gotten beaten up. He's played through back injuries, shoulder injuries. I just remember watching one video that I guess I'll just retweet it right now. You can look on my Twitter, _Patrick Perrette, of just an awesome mic'd up clip of him getting his shoulder. Like, I think he might have had to get it popped back in that play. But yeah, he took a lot of hits for a long time, and he was really durable for a long time too, just playing through injuries. So will he play till he's 40? I doubt it. I do kind of doubt it. And his game is Tom Brady wins with the quick game, with accuracy, with a mental edge. Peyton was able to play till his late 30s, even though he was throwing ducks and never had arm strength to begin with, because he was just so smart and just knew everything that was about to be thrown at him. Matthew Stafford's game is he has a phenomenal arm. Like, he has one of the great arms in the game. He can absolutely rip the ball. So once that starts to go away, he's not going to be the same player. He's not going to play to 40 because he's pinpoint accurate like Drew Brees and smart like Peyton Manning. Like, he's not that guy. So I would probably say he'll play to his late 30s. If you say he's got 5 more years left, play till he's 38, that sounds about right to me.
803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in if you want to do so this morning. Again, Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, Jen Jensen, we're all filling in for Pearson Fowler. We'll be here for 1 hour, and then we'll turn it over to Terry Ford, and he'll handle it from 10 to 11, and we'll have Jay Phillips will come in from 11 to 12, and at that point, we will then get back to regular programming, Jay and Tommy. And do want to remind you, Jay and Tommy will be out at Cove to Coast, located at 1821 Lake Murray Boulevard in Columbia, this coming Friday from noon until 3 o'clock. You can stop by over there for prizes, tickets, and giveaways. Jay Phillips wants you to always sing a Fish song if you come by. He's big into that. He likes some jazz hands when you're singing Fish. So if you want to go see Jay Phillips and Tommy Moody, Go flip the tables on Tommy. Go give Tommy a little taste of his own medicine. Ask him some trivia instead of him always doing Tommy trivia. You go over there and ask Tommy a little bit of trivia, but you can go see the boys there. Cove to Coast, located at 1821 Lake Murray Boulevard in Columbia, this coming Friday, noon until 3 o'clock. Stop by for prizes, tickets, and giveaways. And this coming Saturday, you can stop by Cove to Coast. They will have some Clemson football players there, Miles Murphy, Jordan McFadden, KJ Henry. You can go by Cove to Coast from 10:30 until 2 o'clock. If you're a Tiger fan and you want to take the little ones out, get some pictures, get some autographs, whatnot, Clemson football players Miles Murphy, Jordan McFadden, and KJ Henry will be over 1821 Lake Murray Boulevard in Columbia this coming Saturday, 10:30 to 2. It is the Cove to Coast Boat Show at their Irmo location Friday through Sunday. Go out and check all that out. 803-404-6100. We will carry on. We're not even calling it. It's just the overtime edition of the early game. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Patrick Pratt, and Jen Jensen.
So when talking about Plunkett, John just called and said Troy Aikman had kind of scrubby stats.
Larry, I looked it up. Danny White won one Super Bowl with the Cowboys. One Super Bowl. Oh, man. Tom Brady is already talking about the possibility of coming out of retirement. That's awesome. I mean,
He just said you never know what's going to happen.
he did say, but I mean, like, when you retire at 45, never say never. I think we're all wearing down in here. We're all. Oh yeah, I need to mention this. All right, we'll talk about this here in a second.
See?
We did used to play that a lot, didn't we? That was a throwback you gave us. That's one of my Party Rock's a good song.
I think it should be in the bump rotation.
It should be in the bump. Yeah, I
really
agree.
think so.
It's hard to you gotta let it flow out though, because where it hits that little beat there, you gotta.
We'll definitely make sure we get that in there.
Yeah, good job. Jen is you're still listening to the early game. Don't look at your watch and think it's not 9 a.m. yet. We're filling in one extra hour for Pearson Fowler today. He'll be back, I believe, tomorrow. So the bottom line is we are here until 10 o'clock, and then Terry Ford will step in here and handle it from 10 to 11, and Jay Phillips from 11 to 12. Patrick, there was some news, and it's funny. I guess this is why we needed to do an extra hour, because as you and I were turning on our mics to start at about 6 a.m., I said, all right, anything particular you want to get into? And you mentioned, oh, yeah, we need to mention Devontae Holloman news and some news out locally with the high school ranks as well. Let's start with the Devontae Holloman news. He steps down yesterday from South Point as being head coach at South Point High School, and will now be taking a job as an analyst with South Carolina. I don't think he's replacing Connor Shaw in the Department of Player Development. I believe he'll be a defensive analyst is what I have seen. But you're adding another Gamecock. So you lose, let's go off the field stuff here for a second. You lose you lose Connor Shaw there, a former Gamecock who was kind of in that analyst role, was obviously on the support staff. And now you had Devontae Holloman, who had a nice career at South Carolina, went on to play in the NFL a little bit for the Cowboys, got injured, has come back. And it'll be interesting because this is a guy that I've talked to a lot of high school coaches about, just kind of wondering. He was down at Buford, built them up, went up to South Point, his former high school. And I think he's got a career in the coaching industry. This is getting his foot in the door at the college level and maybe working his way up.
Yeah, in general, it's just good to have former successful beloved players, guys that have played in the NFL, and it's a good place to start. I mean, look, some of these schools have just a million analysts. Like, how much does Alabama pay out in analysts every year? Like millions of dollars, I'm assuming. So anytime you're going to bring another voice in the room. We were just talking about this the other day with the Enagbare situation, where their scouts were saying he doesn't have a wide array of pass rush moves, and we talked about how it's just a lot for one coach to deal with, having to coach the linebackers and the pass rushers and deal with all those different things and the nuances of one position. So Devontae Holloman is a defensive analyst, can bring another opinion into the room and have the opportunity to get his hands on players and work with them in more specific ways. I can't see how this is anything but a good thing.
There is one aspect of this. Now, I don't think Holloman's going to be the new tight ends coach.
You wouldn't think so.
That you don't think so. But here is one element to adding Devontae Holloman to the South Carolina staff that is interesting. And I don't know off the top of my head of any South Point prospects coming up in the next 2 years. However, the NCAA established a rule in 2017 preventing the hiring of anyone associated with a prospect as a non-field coach within 2 years of the prospect signing. So you could hire Devontae Holloman. Basically what this was to keep it from hiring a high school head coach who maybe had a group of upcoming players and then putting that coach in an analyst role, but where the players want to follow him to said school. Kind of a way of paying, under the table, the gray area, so to speak. So, again, the rule is Holloman, coming from South Point, South Carolina would not be allowed to recruit any South Point players in 2023 or 2024 that have played for Devontae Holloman.
That's a very interesting conundrum. If there's one prospect that you say, hey, we like this kid, but we do want Devontae Holloman, so we can't recruit this kid if we hire Devontae Holloman. So do we not hire him so we can recruit this kid?
Let me be clear. If he was, there's nothing that I've heard that indicates he's going to be named the tight ends coach. Okay, there's nothing I've heard. Now, who knows? Maybe this is all. If he was named an own field coach, tight ends coach, then yes, South Carolina could recruit South Point. And again, let's also be clear about this. Hypothetically, if a player transfers into South Point now and has never played for Devontae Holloman, South Carolina could recruit that player.
Right. But they had to have weighed that, right? Like looked at their boards or whatever and said, all right, is there any kid that we're just dying to have or need to recruit that would make it not worthwhile bringing him in? Like, you think they would have had to do that due diligence, right?
I would assume that there's knowledge of who's on that excuse me, who's on that roster at this point in time.
Yeah.
That you would say, okay, we're not going to recruit that. We're going to go elsewhere. There's obviously no recruits there. South Carolina did sign Omega Blake. That's the last one from South Point back in this was his freshman year, so the 2020 class, I guess. But the bottom line here is,
So
again,
does that mean you just can't offer a scholarship to a kid
Correct.
from South Point for the next 2 years? But if there was a kid who they were somewhat interested, they thought was a good player, but not,
you want to offer him a preferred walk-on
He can
role,
do
you can
that.
do that.
Okay.
Yeah, you cannot bring him in as a scholarship player. So just a little tidbit there. I don't know. We'll ask Chris Deering about this when he comes on for his Friday morning segment. And we'll see. Nothing official from South Carolina or from Devontae Holloman. But again, multiple outlets reporting that that South Carolina is set to meet. The Board of Trustees is scheduled to meet on February 18th, and that at that time contracts could be approved for Jody Wright, who a lot of people believe will be the next tight ends coach, for Devontae Holloman, and for raises for other coaches as well.
I'm just fascinated by that rule. So, I mean, if there was a kid that was just like my dream, who just balls out next year and has a huge junior year and is offered by every school in the country, and he's like, all I've ever wanted to do is go to South Carolina. Now I can't go to South Carolina because my coach is there. Like, there's no workaround. The kid can't say, please let me go to South Carolina. It has nothing to do with Devontae Holloman. I just want to go to South Carolina. Like, there's just no workaround there.
What I don't know is, hypothetically, if a kid were to come, and what you're asking, I see, is if a kid said, I want to go to South Carolina, or, if Clemson pulled something and did the same thing, if that kid enrolled as a preferred walk-on for 1 year,
and then
let's say because I've seen this done. I've seen this. But South Carolina just recently did it with Tyson Williams when North Carolina blocked his transfer to South Carolina. Tyson Williams enrolled at South Carolina in his redshirt year, his first year under the GI Bill. His mother had been in the military, and he was able to get a scholarship. So basically, he was able to get a non-athletic scholarship that covered his tuition for 1 year. So hypothetically speaking, if, say, a junior at South Point who played for Devontae Holloman blew up and was this massive recruit, like just has a monstrous junior season, and you're like, man, we want to go get that guy, I guess what you could do is he could be a preferred walk-on if that's what he wants to do. And then you try to find him in-state money, non-athletic scholarship money to cover the 1 year. And then maybe you can put him on scholarship after that. I have no clue.
Or he's got to just go play at a prep school, go to a private school for a senior year.
I guess. I don't know.
That would work, right?
That NCAA rulebook, man, it's a tricky thing. The other news that did come out yesterday, and this is more Midlands High School related, and it also pertains to South Carolina, is that Jaden Bradford, a quarterback over at Chapin High School, will be transferring to IMG. Now, Bradford's in the 2024 class, so he's got time, but this is a kid that a lot of people have raved about. And his development was something that people want to watch. He does already have a South Carolina offer. He's been offered by a bunch of other schools actually as well. I don't have the full list right in front of me, but with all that being said, South Carolina former prospect, now he'll be down at IMG, is Jaden Bradford. And Patrick, we talked about this. Devin Hyatt did it from Dutch Fork recently and went down to IMG. Now you'll see Jaden Bradford going down there, and a lot of people still think South Carolina is in pretty good position to land him if he wants to come back home.
Yeah, does this make South Carolina fans concerned that he might not come to South Carolina? He blows up too big? I don't know what really the reaction was. I remember what it was for Hyatt, where people didn't really
South Carolina
like
they've had a fine relationship in terms of, like, it's not like anybody down there hates South Carolina. It's not like South Carolina dislikes anybody down there. South Carolina's just not had a lot of success pulling kids from IMG Academy. Lavassier Carroll did go to IMG, but he made a brief pit stop in Athens, Georgia to try and play for the Bulldogs last year. But South Carolina hasn't exactly had a ton of success pulling kids from IMG Academy, and it has been home to bigger schools. Alabama's made a living off of it. Clemson had several committed at one time. They did lose a couple of them this year that they had committed. So with all that being said, yeah, I think it's more of like good for the kid. Go develop and become a better player, but a lot of people, I think you would prefer. Okay, I
Keep
prefer
him
him be at
put him
Chapin
as
where he's right down the road.
You know, maybe he goes to Florida for a couple of years and decides I miss home. I definitely want to go to college near home. But I mean, it's hard to argue that this will be better. This wouldn't be better for him in the long term. I mean, I just looked up the coaching staff at IMG. Jeff Blake is the director of the quarterback academy there. Played in the NFL for 14 years. Like, it's hard to. I don't want to put down the Chapin coaching staff because I don't know a soul that coaches there or has ever coached there, but you got to think that a 14-year NFL vet's going to do a pretty good job, and they've got 2 other quarterback coaches on staff. Like, they have more quarterback coaches than the University of South Carolina does, so he's going to get good training there. I don't know. I assume that there's going to be a lot of competition at the quarterback position there, right? I mean, it's the best players in the country for the most part. There's going to be 5 stars on top of 5 stars on his roster, so, I mean, good luck.
It would be something to keep an eye on because with that being said, he does have to go down there and compete.
I would have gone to IMG Academy if I could have.
For lacrosse?
Place is sick.
Oh, cool.
I mean, that campus is ridiculous.
I've never
Everything
looked at. I've never
about
really
that
looked at
place
it.
is insane. Yeah, I would have loved that.
803-404-6100. Bill Gunner, Patrick Pratt, Jen Jensen. As we carry on, it's the overtime edition of the early game. We get you through about another 20 minutes here. You're listening to, well, I'm calling it, you're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Yeah, that one girl from Iowa, she's just insane. So good.
Yeah, I agree, Alan. I think that Bradford has a chance to be a really good prospect. What? Uh-oh. Oh my goodness. Jennifer, can you hear me in there? You got the Alshon audio that we might get to this hour, this segment? Okay. Okay. As you can tell, the coffee has started to wear off. Everybody's wearing down. Getting fully invested in Bucks Lakers last night, which I guess the Bucks just, they were up 70-51. And Giannis just gave the business to LeBron. But LeBron came back and gave the business to. Ooh, 44-14 last night.
Russ didn't play a second in the fourth quarter either. Somebody in DC said that they were talking about trading back for Russ. Oh, it's a nightmare there. Bradley Beal's out for the year now, apparently getting surgery, but he has a player option for next year. And all of the talk was the Wizards need to blow it up and trade Bradley Beal right now because he's going to walk for nothing next year. And now they can't trade him. So they're going to lose Bradley Beal and get absolutely nothing in return. They are a disaster.
It is the magical fourth hour. Very rare, kind of like a unicorn, of the early game. Patrick Perrette, Jen Jensen, Bill Gunner carrying you through. Terry Ford will be in here in the next hour. Jay Phillips from 11 to 12. We have spent 3.5 hours with you this morning talking about South Carolina's loss last night, 86-76 to the University of Kentucky. The Gamecocks played better. I don't think we can argue with how they played. They just couldn't get it done. And the problem therein lies that they're now 13-10 and 4-7 overall with a really difficult schedule still ahead of them. Many more different difficult games that they need to get through here to get to the end of the season. The other thing we've been talking about has been the Super Bowl. And Patrick, you're right. It feels a little off. We don't have the Monday media session that we typically have for the Super Bowl because in years past, when there's been a media session, normally you get some quotable quotes.
Yes, reporters in your face asking you fun questions.
And quite frankly, if you've ever been around athletes, as much as they may seem to enjoy it, they really don't enjoy being asked.
Usually not.
A whole bunch of questions. This started circulating yesterday. It's not new. It is from 2019. No. When were the Eagles last in the Super Bowl?
Was it 18?
Might have been 18.
When was the Eagles? Yeah. All right. This was the audio from Alshon Jeffrey. It was on 2018. This is the Eagles and the Buccaneers. They played each other in the Super Bowl. This was from the media session.
The Eagles and the Patriots.
Excuse me. I'm looking at Eagles Bucks here. Eagles Patriots. This is Alshon Jeffrey being interviewed at Super Bowl Media Day.
Earlier, and he said that he and the team and everybody's trying to keep this as normal of a week as possible, but this is anything but normal. How much fun is this, and how much are you enjoying this experience so far?
Honestly, I think this is terrible doing all this. I think that we could have stayed in Philly and come on Friday or Saturday.
Then you wouldn't get to see Timberlake and all the other celebrities here. It's part of the experience, right?
He's a normal person now. He bleeds just like I bleed. He go through feelings just like I. So, I mean, he's a celebrity to you. I mean, hats off to him. I listen to his music. I mean, he's a great guy. I mean, great artist. But I'm here to play football. I care less about all that other.
Did you see the temperature for game day on Sunday?
We're playing indoors.
If you were outside, though, how would that affect it?
I don't think the Super Bowl will be in the winter. I mean, we'll be here.
Makes sense. They had it in cold in New York, right?
I don't think the Super Bowl will be here.
We get that. The reporter had to just be like,
"Oh, you run out of things. I've been there."
Oh,
he was probably loving it though. was like, "This is awesome. I'm tweeting this out immediately."
Yeah, well, that's true.
Well, the
He's
first
hilarious.
quote, like as a, there's two ways to look at it. I've done interviews like that where you just within the first question, they don't want to be there. Now you don't want to be there, and it's just like, all right, man. But now as a reporter, what you don't want to do is you don't want to look punked. You don't want the player to have because there's other people that there's a video. You can go to Twitter or you can probably go to Google and search Alshon Jeffrey Super Bowl interview. I've covered Alshon. Quite frankly, in defense of Alshon has come a long way as far as a speaker. Like getting 4 words from Alshon Jeffrey at early on, both as a recruit and then like his first or second year at South Carolina, was for a reporter. Now maybe he was a chatty Cathy around his friends and just didn't stop talking, but speaking to the media early on as he was a high school senior and being recruited by South Carolina, Tennessee, and Southern Cal, there was hard getting words out of him.
So you weren't surprised that he didn't like media day?
Oh, I'm not shocked at all. And yeah,
To be kind of a pork chop about it, that's the part that kind of surprised me.
But he answered the question.
It was kind of funny though. He might have realized he was being funny. My favorite part was saying Justin Timberlake bleeds just like I do.
Right.
Yeah,
he said he's a good guy. He's he's a good performer. So he did admit he doesn't know him. So, he's an honest guy.
Bleeds just like I bleed.
I like the part he's like, he has feelings just like I have feelings.
Such a funny way to talk about him.
Just in case anybody wondered if Justin Timberlake has feelings, Alshon Jeffrey was there to to solidify that. Yeah, he's got feelings and I got feelings too. We're similar in that manner.
What, you're not excited about Justin Timberlake's halftime performance? No, he bleeds just like I do. I'm not excited for that.
They do. Well, what was it? It was a couple years ago. Was it Marshawn Lloyd put a helmet on, went and stood in the corner?
Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That was
Lynch.
very difficult. I kept saying Marshawn Lynch every time Marshawn Lloyd committed. But he's the one that stood up there and said, I'm just here so I won't get fined.
Yeah. I get it. And the thing about it is that Super Bowl media day is stupid. People are there to try and make you look. They're trying to trap a player and get them to say something stupid. And SEC media day is kind of the same thing. And it's why I'm not huge on SEC media day with the questions, everything to the players.
But there is a level to which if you show enough personality and have enough fun with it, it can make you money. It can legitimately make you money if you're super personable and fun and the media likes being around you. That holds weight.
Now
if you just answer and you're professional and you just answer the coach speak to every question, that you're just getting through it. And that's fine.
There is a level of now going. Until you just mentioned it, the media day.
Yeah.
The coverage that SEC media day has.
If you're just hilarious and cracking jokes up on the stage, people will love you.
It's a chance to show off your brand.
Exactly.
It's a chance to, you wear your nice suit or whatever, but maybe you've got your ball cap that you're pulling out when you're up at the main stage, with whatever company. There's a level of now, I could see. This is a weird thing to say, and we're only going to do about 10 more minutes of this program, but maybe we'll get back into it this summer. Jealousy, not from being the starting quarterback, but from being the guy who doesn't get to go to SEC Media Day because you want to go and speak and maybe represent your brand and make a few extra dollars.
Maybe that will go into the decision-making process of who goes, because the coach decides that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like they vote on who we want to come.
Right.
Shane Beamer will decide. So if you have people, if you say, hey, so-and-so doesn't want to do it, he doesn't like doing media, he doesn't want to be there, but so-and-so does, even if he's not as high profile of a player, just bring the guy that likes to do media. Who cares?
Also, by the way, like the fact is Travis says, I don't know if this is, again, the part where a reporter's trying to trap Alshon Jeffrey there. Have you seen the weather for Sunday's game? It's an indoor stadium, man.
Right.
Who cares about the weather?
That was actually funny.
Yeah, but that's, you're not watching the video, so you can't see the smiles and everything. But yeah, it just stupid stuff like that. But no media, no major media day this year. I was asking Patrick if they've even got any kind of event going on this week that's just leading up to the game. Anything kind of
not that I know of.
Yeah.
This Super Bowl, to be fair, the Super Bowl was in Minneapolis that year, so the guy was just kind of saying, "Hey,
have you seen the weather outside?
It's gonna be cold, right?"
Yeah.
If you win the Super Bowl, you're gonna go out in Minnesota tonight. It's gonna be pretty cold. Did you bring a jacket? just trying to make small talk. Talk about
Well,
anything.
that's the thing. You're just
when you got nothing to talk about, you talk about the weather.
when you get thrown on such a loop on that first answer, you're like, all right, I got to come back with let's see if I can get him to say something that I can use, anything that okay, no weather, got it, no problem. 803-404-6100. We will wrap up the overtime edition of the early game when we return. You're listening to Jen Jensen, Patrick Brett, and Bill Gunner on 107.5 The Game.
Coming up on 107.5 The Game.
Hey, if you've got a hole in your roof or you need a whole new roof, you need to call Midstate Roofing, 356-1919. For nearly a quarter of a century, Midstate Roofing has established its reputation as the leader in the roofing industry. Whether it's above your head or at your feet, perhaps a leaky foundation, 356
can still hear the air signal through the stream.
For all your roofing and waterproofing needs. The quality and craftsmanship of a Midstate roofing system are tops in the industry, especially commercial and
There we go.
Perfect.
Apparently, Jen's got something important to say.
I have 10% left of battery on my iPad, so 4 hours is my limit.
Yeah, I think the battery on all of us is blinking red.
Worn out.
I think now I get to go sit in the school pickup line because they get out early.
What time do they get out?
It's like a teacher work day or something. Austin gets out at 11:20. Ansley's like at 12:10 or something.
What's even the point of going?
Huh?
What's the point of even going?
I don't know. That's what I was telling you earlier. Is like kids these days don't go to school. Like last,
But isn't it more inconvenient to have to pick them up at noon than just not go at all?
Probably for a lot of parents, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, bottom line is like last month they come back from winter break, or they come back from Christmas break, and they went to school for like a week and 4 days, and then they had a 4-day Friday, Monday off. They were off Friday, and then Martin Luther King Day they were off. So then they've come back and they've gone like 2 full weeks, and it's next Friday. Next Friday they're off Friday, and then off again Monday. Another 4-day week. Like I said, we never had 4-day week.
No,
we barely even had days off.
Mm-mm. And I think that's just very disruptive.
I think so.
Would you see Aiken
What are
going?
the parents supposed to do?
I'm not sure about Augusta. Not that it matters, but Aiken is going to year-round school.
My mom always advocated for year-round school. Just longer breaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's smart. Work is year-round.
Yeah. What was it like 3 months on, 1 month off?
Year-round school?
I think it was something like that.
3 months on, 1 month off.
Like
you still get 3 months off then.
Yeah, but instead of it being 3 consecutive months, you'd be on for 3 months. So you went like August, September, October. Or maybe they started in September, October, November. Then you had a whole month of December off. January, February, March.
Whole month of April.
Whole month of April.
May, June, July.
August off. Start your next school year.
I would actually prefer that.
Yes, Anthony. We're a whole whipped. We don't work out. This is not part of the workout program to do the 4th hour.
Also, I've been working for 13 hours now. I haven't
I
even
worked out
showered. That's why I'm
yesterday.
wearing a hat. I came right here from work.
Yeah, you get accustomed to working for like Greg. That's what somebody told me. That's what Lauren actually told me. Okay, is that Preston?
Looked like it.
I couldn't. There's a glare.
Does Preston know that
It might be
Christian's not here?
Preston and Terry. I have no clue.
I guess we're doing another hour with Preston. Do we end at the same time?
Is this a Jen? Jen, are you playing this, or is this what Pearson plays? You're playing this? But Jen is all into the music. Go to her Twitter account.
Who is this?
I hate to say, if you'd asked me at 6:30, I'd have known. It's 9:51. I'm spent.
What do you put in a beverage to cool it down?
I've actually never heard. What is this? A remix of Ice Cube on?
Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Okay.
He did this at the Clash on Sunday.
Okay, I like that. Is it new? What's new to this program?
It is.
I have kids.
know.
I have
it's a
kids
good-
now, man. I listen to country music in the car.
Ugh. We will not. I'm just going to put that in right now. We will not have country music bumpers. Just ain't gonna happen.
Is Ice Cube a halftime show snub?
I think he is. Yeah, I think that's fair.
Maybe.
I think the halftime show is going to be good.
I mean,
where I was going with this earlier, you guys were asking if one of them was going to get edited or bleeped out
Censored,
or
yeah.
censored. You get up there, it's like an athlete. You're in your
You're in your
flow.
element,
You're
yeah.
in your element. You're going. Look, it's a
is.
big
They've
show.
rehearsed it a million
It's
times.
it's a big show. You're used to saying that word every night as
There's
part of your
5.
program.
No, they're not, because there's 5 people. They're all gonna perform for like 2 minutes each.
I don't know how they're going to do it.
Every second of this thing is going to be rehearsed. They're not just going to be reverting back to what they're normal. And also, none of these people are touring right now. Kendrick Lamar is the only person that's probably actively playing live shows.
Snoop Dogg's busy with a million other ventures.
Snoop
Oh my
Dogg's
gosh.
got
He's
a
got the
million-
Puppy Bowl.
Yeah, Snoop Dogg is the busiest man in the world right now, and
seriously.
Eminem is definitely not doing concerts right now. I don't
I
think
didn't know
Dre is doing
Eminem. I didn't know Eminem now is like not dyeing his hair, because I did something the other day and I went somewhere and a guy was like, "Oh my goodness, you look like Eminem," and I was like, "I have dark hair. I have gray in my beard. I don't need, what are you talking about?" And then I had to look it up, and Eminem has like dark hair now, which is brand new news to me.
I don't know what Eminem's been doing for the last couple of years, but I haven't heard anything from Mary J. Blige recently. Dre's probably still making Detox, and Kendrick Lamar is the only one that's like an active musician. So I'm pretty sure they're not doing this every night. They know exactly what they're going to do. There's no way anyone's cussing, and there's no way it's going to be played live anyway. There will be a delay.
Oh
but-
no, there's definitely a delay. There's
I
always
just
a
don't wanna
delay.
I just don't want to hear gaps in the
Yeah,
in the
that will sound
performance.
bad.
That will make me mad.
Okay. All right. We see Preston Thorne out there. He is in the bullpen waiting patiently. I just saw Captain David Dare go wandering by. He is out there. We have done 4 hours. We have done our part to entertain you this morning. Ray says, no country music. I just lost some respect for Jen. I thought she had good taste.
Ugh.
Oh, rough day. And an anonymous texter
Modern
said,
country
tell
baby.
Jen to play some Little Baby. All right, we're dancing on out of here. Terry, Preston, Captain Dave, they've got you for another hour. Y'all have a fantastic day. We'll talk to you in the morning.
Yep. We'll see. We'll see live stream.